start the actual recording. And, okay, so we said San Luis Obispo, right? What?
That was very efficient. Good job, everyone.
Yeah. Set his departure, probably also... Actually, we'll do Paso Robles. Set his arrival. Cool. But I also have to go back in, and I have to make this like a parking spot. Hold on. I hate how this is in the way. That's the one problem.
Put it over there. Yeah, put it over there.
Just put it over here. Okay. I didn't want to escape.
I just got a severe flashback to us fueling the 150 after we landed.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments you know you'll remember forever, and then you do it.
Which time? I don't even... Maybe I don't remember.
Oh, the time we came back from Tajaby.
Oh, super late?
Yeah.
I do remember that, yeah.
Okay, so I actually don't know
I'm gonna do that flight. That's good. That's a good flight to do one of these days.
So I actually don't know how to set a VOR, and I don't know if I want to.
No, you don't need to.
So I'll just go without that. As far as
remember?
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I was just gonna.
Yes,
say,
I remember Avenel.
No, I was gonna say I remember when I introduced a VOR into our Moonlander design.
No, I don't remember that.
Remember, we were having like directional issues, and I was like, "Oh, we should just have a rotating radar that we look at."
I'm sure everybody was just like, "What?
What is that?" Yeah, it was very impressive when I presented it to Ball Aerospace. So.
Right. Nice.
Perfect.
Right," which is what got you the job, right?
That's right. It's in the causal chain.
5:51 p.m. is kind of dark, so I'm actually just gonna go custom. I'm gonna set the time myself. We're gonna make it like noon, you know.
Good plan.
Yeah.
As far as weather goes, I'll just put few clouds. We'll make it a little bit fun, I guess. As far as traffic, I'm on the AI setting because I can't be in live traffic because we're not in live weather. I think that's how that works.
Okay.
So that'll all be like that. And then I need to go here and liveries. No, that's fine. Weight and balance. This is the thing I was looking at earlier that I like missed in the previous video, but I did look at it beforehand. I'm gonna set this to 250. I'm gonna.
We're in the plane now.
You're in the plane now. Okay. We're gonna be pretty close to our max takeoff weight then, right?
Fine, you can put less gas in it.
It's true.
But
how much do you guys
like to
weigh?
point out that I weigh like 185,
Alright, well, you're a lot lighter than I am.
195.
maybe 190. I don't know.
Better to overestimate, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like 230, but I was estimating for like me having like a backpack in the back seat or whatever. Well, I guess if I had a
Right,
backpack
yeah.
in the back seat, I would want it in the back seat.
Yeah. You
There we go.
Balance even out.
Um,
Shotgun.
I know how to do these calculations, but I'm really glad that the game does it for me.
Yeah.
This is super close to max takeoff weight though, and that is actually kind of concerning because I know that it's not like a fixed number, right? Like I know that it matters like how close you are to sea level and what the temperature is and whatnot, right?
Tell us about it. Preaching to the choir. Just lower the fuel a little bit.
Right, okay. So it's in terms of fuel, we're only going to Paso Robles. That's not far. We have plenty of fuel. So I could even probably put it way lower than this, but
Whatever gets you
That's
to a
good.
comfortable weight. Yeah.
I think this is fine.
Fine.
I still don't know about the number though because it doesn't show you that like operating limits graph. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And so I'm just gonna trust that the game has done this correctly because I don't want to do it right now. But
Okay.
I do know how to do it theoretically. I'm gonna
I
set
just
all
wanna
the
point out-
failures. Yeah.
I want to point out that little diagram where they drew the leading edge and trailing edge.
Oh,
That's wrong
uh-huh.
because it's of the mean aerodynamic chord, and that would only be true if it were a straight wing without the taper. But anyway,
I did not know that.
I think probably it does that math and doesn't show it.
I think so. I think it just does it. It draws it in a wrong
Yeah.
way. It's not actually wrong.
Okay, so as far as like failures are concerned, I have these all checked off because it's a simulator and I don't want to have to deal with it, but it's something that I still want to think about.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add these in as time goes, right? But I'm considering myself like a super noob, so I'm gonna just not let this happen. As for ATC tail number, I'll just put it as what did I have it as? 3477 Echo, and then okay, so I apparently had this wrong, but I thought the call sign was literally just the tail number without the N in front.
Well,
Is that how
it'll
it works,
just do
or
that.
can I just make it anything?
You just leave it blank and it'll make it whatever it wants.
You know. If I leave it blank though, it doesn't like fill it in for me. So I'm just gonna make it 77 Echo.
Okay.
I'm not heavy, and I'll show the tail number, and I am good to go in that sense. Whoops.
It looks like it says it's still night, so you might want to.
Yeah, I have to go back and figure out what
Oh no,
what happened
not,
here.
Okay.
I might just change it in game, to be honest.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sure there's some issue, and it's like actually night for whatever reason, but I can fix it. Okay, so the reason why I pulled up the VFR map online is because I don't have the printed out version in front of me, whereas with the Lone Rock one, I had it in my hands, which was kind of helpful. That said, I am quite familiar with the San Luis Obispo area, so I shouldn't like really need it because I, have the knowledge, but I'll still need it for frequencies and whatnot. Oh, I want that. Get out of here.
Yeah, this is where a second screen would be super nice.
Oh, too zoomed in. Okay, so 124.0 is the CTAF frequency? Am I reading this right?
It's a towered airport, so you'll have to
Oh, fuck!
That's alright, it'll go fine.
I've never done this before.
Luckily Neiman's done it.
Or alternatively, we can teleport to Oceano, and then you can just take off from there.
Neiman, are you the tower?
Oh wait,
or is the
one
tower
more thing I
like
had to
sitting
do.
in?
I have to open up my spad.next. Hold on.
I could be the tower.
You can be tower. You can be tower.
But
you have such a tower voice.
Okay. I just need this like open, and then I need to turn on virtual power. Okay.
Yeah, I don't. I think we should try to make the in-game tower thing work. Oh man, we're there.
We're really there.
I haven't actually been on the apron at this airport, right? Like.
That's right. We'll tell you where to go. It's fine.
Yeah, we know right where to go.
It does look very familiar, though. Like, I know what this hill is. I know what this hill is. I know what this hill is.
Out there, yeah.
Oh my god! Actually, I'm just gonna take a second to look around. This is, I could do this in the air too, but oh, look at the hills, dude!
We've been on this ramp so many times. So good.
Alright.
Okay, and I'll go back in, and I'll pull up my checklist. Okay, so aircraft documents first. I need to check that I've got everything to be legal. It's Aero, so that would be my airworthiness certificate, which I'm just gonna. Oh, it's right up here, and it's in spec or whatever. It's in the pocket down here. Then I've got my registration, I've got my radio license, I've got my pilot's operating handbook, and we just did the weight and balance, and I think we're fine. So, aircraft documents, check.
Did you say something about the radio certificate?
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Okay.
That was the
so you
second
don't,
R.
You're gonna have to have that, right?
You don't actually need that for domestic flight. What?
Oh, is it just AROW then? Like a...
That's what it is now. It used to be 2 R's. If you're going
was this?
international, then
Okay.
you need one.
Hi,
Well,
boys.
we're not flying internationally. Hello! Bye-bye! Is she still there?
Yeah, she's still there.
Alright, well, she can watch.
Yeah,
She can be tower.
I'm in like the living room instead of the office because I think she's set up in the living room in the office.
Where are you?
I'll remove the parking brake. I will make sure the ignition is off.
Oh, sorry.
Just hold up for a second.
Yep.
You're finishing up.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
I have to go do something. It'll be like 30.
Okay, we'll just look around.
I was just gonna say, because it's gonna take so long to do this anyway, like, I may as well just, plug along, right?
We're kind of here so that you're not missing anything, right?
Yeah. So, anyway, I will go external then. Actually, I'll go showcase, and, or actually, there's actually a better way of doing this. Hold on.
Wait, can we try? Just this is totally non-operational. But can you go to Parsec real quick?
Yep.
And go to me. Go to my symbol at the bottom left, and click it, and then click. Oh, gamepad is already on. Go back to flight sim.
What are you gonna do? It's the drone view. I put it in drone view on purpose so that I can look around slow. Hey, get off! Get off! I'm gonna take us up.
I didn't think that was gonna work as well as it did.
All right, I'm back.
We're just looking around slow while you were gone.
Oh, fun.
Check this out.
I didn't know there was a view cam.
There is a view cam, and it's awesome as fuck.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet.
I'll just, go to the area we're all familiar with.
There's PCB. Go to Ham Shack. How well have they simulated the Ham Shack?
How do I drop down again? Hold on. Ooh.
Because you said you were.
I like you better in the office.
You want me to go to the office? All right, that's better for me too. Going to the office.
Right. I can see it down there.
It's right in here, right?
It's in the E-shaped building.
Yeah.
Yeah, go. How close can you get?
I'm trying. I'm figuring it out. It doesn't have the antenna,
Yeah, that's true. This is all like AI generated, remember?
Yep. I think that's about as close as I can get.
You can't go down?
I can probably go further down. I guess I can get closer.
Oh! It's a little too close.
Hold on. There's a way to fix that. I just go to drone speed, and then this should be a little slower and easier to control.
Oh my god, they have like weird like textures on the side.
Yeah. This is really pretty good considering like probably no one else will ever look at it.
Right.
All right, so you want to go to the women's mall in the shack, which is really what it's really not, right? Like that's the least like the shack.
It's like the opposite. It couldn't be more opposite.
Have women spent time in the shack? Like honestly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Definitely.
I was gonna say I don't think.
I mean, yeah, that couch totally has a number.
All right. Well, here you go. Let's get the closest we could possibly get. All right. Let's just go back to the plane. Like so. It's kind of.
Okay. So.
Are we ready to get back into it?
Yeah. I do have joystick control, but you can turn it off.
Do not fucking touch.
I'm not going to. I'm just letting you know.
I will turn it off.
Okay.
That way, you guys can't mess with me.
Yes,
what was that turbulence? Where did it come from?
Whoa, turbulence!
All right, avionics are off. Battery switch is on. I'm just gonna follow this checklist. One thing is that I, in one of the previous videos, I tried to validate it against like an actual Cessna 172 checklist, and it's close enough that I'm just gonna use this.
Okay.
Fuel quantity indicators. Also, did I not do my walk around yet?
Parking. You forgot your parking brake. You started documents, then you switched straight to battery switch.
I have to go again, but I'll carry on, and I will be back in a couple minutes.
No, my parking brake is out. I just did it though.
Okay.
But it wants my parking brake to be set, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Okay. I thought it was already set. You're right. Okay. I'm actually going to skip forward here a little bit. Okay, yeah, it wants me to do the pre-flight inspection later. Okay, so fuel quantity indicators are here. We've got like the 9 gallons that we loaded in, both tanks. That looks right. This is looking for like a fuel warning here, and since that's not on, that's good. Avionics switch on.
Ah, okay.
Which is somewhat problematic because it didn't turn on my actual avionics radio board. No, like the one in front of me in my face. Which means that there's a problem with my SPAD. Did I not open SPAD again?
No, I thought you did.
Actually, I think that might be the issue.
It's there.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing it.
It looks like it's connected.
I know. I don't know what's up. One thing that I noticed is that I might be able to. You think it's the wrong aircraft?
It's a Skyhawk Azubo. Is that what you're in?
Yes, because I'm in a Cessna 172 Skyhawk, and the Asobo is referring to the in-game developer studio thing.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
Right. So, anyway, I think I can change the numbers on the screen by controlling it, right? But I don't see the numbers on my own thing. So that is a little irritating, but I can work with it. Okay. Anyway, avionics are on. Okay, so this is one thing that I think Neiman and I covered in the previous video. It was one of my questions. I legitimately cannot hear the avionics cooling fan come on. I'm at full volume, just so that you can see that.
Turn it
I'm going
to
turn it off, and I'm going to shut up, and you're going to listen to it.
Yeah, you can't hear it.
I can't hear shit.
No.
So I think this is like a legitimate bug or a glitch or something that's not there. Anyway, it wants me to turn off the avionics again. It wants me to look at my static pressure alt source valve and be off. This is the valve. That would be off alt source. This is, so basically it wants the standard, so that's good. Then it wants my annunciator panel to be tested so that the lights come on. And the lights didn't come on.
Which lights were you looking for?
I was looking at the low fuel light. I legitimately have no idea what that's supposed to do, though. This was like a thing
the other one? Go to bright?
I can't. It only goes up and down.
Oh, okay. Weird. Yeah, I don't know.
So, Neiman and I had this brief discussion where it was like supposed to like flash these up here or something, and it just doesn't. And so, anyway, we're fine.
Hopefully it won't be a problem.
Fuel selectors on both. Fuel shutoff valve is open.
Open.
Flaps are okay. Hold on. I need to be like prepared to like look. They're coming down over there, and they're coming over there, and I did just like kill my neck. There we go.
Crunch.
Flaps are down. Pitot heat. Okay, so this is an open conversation between Neiman and I. I know how to turn it on, but I don't know how to check it because it's supposed to be really fucking hot, right? Like you don't want to touch the thing. How do you check it's working?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's on, and I have I burned my hand. All right, good. Battery switch off.
Did you turn it off?
I did turn it off. You can see the switch. Elevator trim to neutral. There we go. And next, pre-flight inspection. Okay, hold on. I was gonna pull up like the procedure for this. I could probably do it from heart, but I want to have the procedure in front of me.
No, you always
so give me a minute. I will get my other computer and I'm gonna pull up that procedure.
Okay.
Or I could do it on here, but what?
You could also put the VFR map on that on your other computer.
I can, but it's like out of battery, and
oh, okay.
Basically I have it plugged in, and it's like I'd have to literally turn 180 degrees from my screen, right, in order to just be barely in reach of the computer.
Right.
And so that won't be helpful. But it will be helpful for having the checklist.
All right.
I wish it could go a little closer, admittedly. Okay, so I think I'm gonna pull it up on here as well, just so that I have it. I posted it in here. I think it's this one that I was using.
Oh, so you're gonna use the paper one?
Yeah.
Well, because the in-flight one literally just says pre-flight inspection. It doesn't like.
Oh, right.
Doesn't do shit for you there, and so
doesn't
do shit for you, mate. Yeah. So I'm just gonna pull this up on my other computer, which is completely out of battery, as I've mentioned. But
you pull it up on your phone.
I could pull it up on my phone, but I don't want to because it's in the other room, and this is gonna work. All right. So I'm gonna step outside of the aircraft here. On the other side, that is. Zoom in a little bit more.
Got
okay.
Some no clouds approaching from the north here.
Really?
Yeah.
I was like, in the game or in here?
Oh no. No, not in slow. Never in slow. Every wind's a free of snow. Send loose this boat.
Alright, so first thing to check is... Oh, one thing to note, Palmer, is that the... this is like the wrong model of plane. This is the S variant, and I think I fly the N variant. And so there's like a couple things that are different. One of the things is that it doesn't have manual fuel priming. Instead it has like a fuel injector pump thing that you leave on, and as a result you don't have like a carburetor. And then another thing is that, and I think my variant has this as well optionally, but in the game it has these like wheel caps on it, and the one that I actually fly does not have the wheel caps on it. Like you can just look at the wheels, you know? Anyway, so what I was taught to do is basically look at the wheels, right? Make sure that it has like the proper treading on it so that you don't see like the cordage in the tire, and to also inspect the brake disc to make sure that it doesn't have corrosion and it's the proper thickness. So because I can't see that, I just have to pretend to have done that, right? So it's fine. Next,
do you see the little like flaps on the wheel pants?
Yes.
That's
These
what
things?
those are for.
You like open that and then you can look in?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it won't simulate that
it
in the
won't
game.
let you. Yeah,
Like I'm just gonna. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to go under the wing, and I'm going to siphon off a little bit of fuel using the little like fuel tester cup thing, and the avgas is colored, and I'm basically looking for the like any water that's in the tank that would have basically been heavier than the fuel, so it'll sink down to the bottom of the fuel tester, right? And it'll be a different color. It'll be like transparent. And I'm also looking for any other impurities or like metal shavings or anything that's in there. And if it's all avgas, then I know I'm good. And then I will check the fuel quantity visually. So I'm going to go up to the top here. I'm going to unscrew this cap, and I'm going to visually see that the fuel level is like well below halfway, but like probably like a third of the way full, because that's about how full we made it. And then I'm going to, once I verify that, I'm going to screw that back in and make sure that it's tight. Then I'm going to go to the pitot tube here. And you know what? I should have probably done this before, right? Because I think... So this is one thing in the checklist, right, that doesn't make sense to me, right? Is that in the previous checklist, I turned on the pitot heat. Oh, and then I had it turned off again. Okay.
Yes.
But this is the thing, is that let's say there's like a cover on the pitot tube, right? Like there sometimes is, like a check before flight thing or something, or remove before flight, right? Well, you probably don't want to have that on when you check the pitot heat, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so remove the pitot cover if there is one, and then make sure that it's free of obstructions.
Okay, so but by the way, we answered a previous question. The internet says you turn the pitot heat on, you immediately check it before it gets super hot.
So you just feel that it's getting warmer, basically.
Yeah, then you turn it off.
Right, okay. Cool, thank you. Okay, so then this little, like, 4-screw thing, there's like a little hole here. This is the stall warning. So I basically put my mouth up to this and, like, create suction. And then I should hear a buzzer in the cabin.
I mean, yeah, I've never checked it that way. Neiman?
I have never checked it that way either. My instructor didn't check it that way. I looked online, and that's what it says.
Some of them will have that suction thing, and some of them will have a tab that moves.
Yeah,
right.
Tab is
attack.
In this case, it's the suction thing.
I don't really know how to do it.
I actually think the planes that I'm flying have the tab, like you're describing.
In that case, you just press it up.
Right, you just, like, flip it, instead of, like, trying to, like, you know, do CPR on the plane. Okay, so I basically make sure that the buzzer sounds. Then I check the fuel tank vent. I know why it's important. I don't know where it is, and I wasn't able to find it on this model. I looked it up online, and there should be like a thing here, I think, or maybe next to the pitot tube, but it is not in this model. I thought maybe it's like this thing up top, but I'm not sure.
I think it's that thing. Neiman?
Could be.
I think it's that thing up top.
Yeah, that's the most likely.
My understanding of why it's important is that basically, you know, these are big, you know, fuel tanks, and if your engine is going to draw fuel from them, it needs to have something to replace on top, like with air, because otherwise it's either going to pull a vacuum or the fuel's not going to flow, and so you're going to kill your engine.
Yeah, you just want to make sure
it's like
free of obstruction.
Like those water jugs, you know, that if you open the base of them, you have to punch a hole in the top, because otherwise, you know, yeah, It's the same principle. Okay, so then I go down here and I remove the tie down. There's no tie down, so I've done it.
Wait, you don't remove the tie down until right then?
Yes, in the checklist.
Well, you can do in the checklist. This is the pre-flight inspection complete item. So we could have done this all before we started the first checklist.
Oh, and you're just checking that you've remembered to do it, basically?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that.
That's useful.
Okay, Palmer, would you also then remove, like, wheel chocks before getting in the plane and doing shit?
I probably would, yeah.
Okay.
It's flat, yeah.
And then in the wintertime, I suppose you would probably also remove the, like, heater, you know?
It's just like a car. You just, like, keep the parking brake on and do whatever you want.
Right. Okay. So then I'm going to check the leading edge and the wingtip here for damage or corrosion or dirt, and just make sure that those are, you know, fine.
Yeah.
And then, hold on, I forgot to do this again, but I'm going to go into the cockpit briefly. I'm going to turn on the battery, and then I'm going to turn on all the different lights, because the next thing on my checklist is to check that the lights are working. So, we've got the landing light and the taxi light on. We've got nav light, and we've got our beacon working. Okay. I'll actually just go...
One,
yes?
I think the one on the end of the wingtip that's flashing is the strobe, and
Yep.
then the beacon is the one on top of the tail. It's the rotating thing.
Oh, I said that wrong. You're right. Sorry. This is the strobe.
Yeah.
This is one of the nav lights, and then the beacon is up here. I'm sorry. I do know that. I just misspoke.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Okay, and then I check both the ailerons and the flaps. This is one of those things that is a little bit is something that I kind of forget how to do 100%, because the first time my instructor basically showed me how to do this, he was basically saying you want to make sure that like it has freedom of movement, but like it doesn't move very far, so you don't want to exert too much pressure on it, you know, so you also want to make sure that it's like secure, you know?
Yeah.
And then he also had, and I'll get to this later, but for like the rudder and the elevators, you know, he had us like actually inspect some of the interior like hinge parts and some of the like wires to make sure that they were like not damaged. That's the best way to put it. But yeah, like I clearly can't look at that here, and I won't know what to look for again until I go, you know, back and do another lesson.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I check both the aileron and the flaps, and then I'm gonna check the door that this like latches properly. I'm also gonna check the baggage door that this latches properly, and then I'm gonna move down the fuselage and just make sure that this is relatively you know, undamaged. There's no like dents or anything horrible. Also, this is the actual tail number of the plane I fly. Okay, and then I get to the empennage in the back. I'm gonna scroll to the other part of my thing. Okay, so
I always called it the empennage.
Well, maybe you're right.
I think it's the empennage.
Okay.
I believe you, because I didn't know the word at all until like 2 days ago when I looked it up.
Okay, yeah, empennage.
So it's the empennage. Alright, so I'm basically just checking these surfaces again, making sure that those aren't damaged. I'm also checking the horizontal stabilizer here, so that it's, you know, not damaged, doesn't have a whole bunch of shit on it. I'm gonna do the same thing I did with the flaps and the aileron and check the elevator. And then I'm gonna also check the rudder in the same way, being sure not to apply too much pressure. But like being firm, you know, firm but gentle.
Right.
I think that's how it was actually described to me, and I was like, well, that's not very helpful.
Firm but gentle.
Okay, and then I checked the lights. So the tail light here is really unclear, but this is on. If it's off, it just will look a lot dimmer, and then the beacon is on. And then I just make sure that the antennas are all like not gonna fall off, right? But I'm careful with them. How do I do that? Do I just like grab them and like give them a little bit of a tug or something, or like?
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you can reach them, because like you're probably not going to reach the ones that are
right.
on top of the wing.
I'm only gonna make it up so far, right?
You can check them when you're fueling the plane, though.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I totally didn't fuel the plane, but I have fueled the plane because it's just full of fuel, right?
Just like grab them near the base or whatever. And
yeah, just kind of check the mounting. Just like wiggle the mounting, make sure it's solid.
Right. Okay. And then basically, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to check the empennage here, these surfaces. I have already checked the rudder, I've already checked the lights, I've already checked the antennas, but I'm going to check the horizontal stabilizer, again, leading edge here for damage or corrosion and whatnot, and then I'm checking the elevator again to make sure that it is, you know, freedom of movement, but is also relatively, you know, secure. It's not going to fall straight off. And I'm looking at the cabling, and I didn't mention this before, but I'm looking at the cabling and making sure that it's not frayed or damaged in another way.
Right.
Okay, and then I move back up along this fuselage, again making sure that I'm, you know, not seeing any dents or whatnot, and I get to the right wing. I'm going to check the flap and the aileron. I'm not going to elaborate because I already have. I'm going to check the lights on the wingtip. We're good, so the strobe is working, the nav light is working. I'm going to check the leading edge of the wingtip, or I'm going to check the wingtip and the leading edge for damage or corrosion and whatnot. I'm going to make sure that my wingtip tie-down is off. I'm going to check the wheel here. I'm going to pop open that thing and look at the wheel, make sure that, you know, none of the cords are showing, that the tire has the right treading on it, and that the brake disc is the right thickness and doesn't have corrosion, or doesn't have a lot of corrosion. in the case of my actual aircraft, there was like clearly rust on it, right? But the instructor was like, "Yeah, but this isn't bad. Like this is pretty normal for Wisconsin. You're gonna have to get used to this." And I was like, "Okay." As long as you feel comfortable, I'm good, right? And then, so I'm gonna do the same thing I did on the other side. I'm gonna drain a little bit of fuel out of this tank. It's a separate tank, so I have to do it on both sides. I actually wasn't taught that. I only did it on the one side, but I think you should do it on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he just missed something. Anyway, or maybe he did, and I just completely forget. Then I'm going to also visually check the fuel quantity, and then make sure the cap is secure when I'm done. And then I'm going to move around to the front of the plane. I'm going to once again check the wheel treading on the front tire, as well as the strut, making sure that that doesn't look damaged and that it's the right extension length, basically. So it's not like wicked far out and the nose of the plane is like in the air, or wicked far down and the propeller's like barely scraped in the ground, right? Like I want it to be about the right height here. And then, let me scroll down. Okay. I'm going to go to the top of the engine. There's this little like tab. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to open that up, and there's a little cap underneath, and I'm going to open that, and that's going to check my engine oil. And basically, I want to make sure that there are at least 5 quarts in the engine, but preferably more, to a max of 8 quarts. And if I have low oil, then I'll go and I'll get more oil and I'll put it in. And then, okay, number 2 here, I actually think I missed on the last one. It says strainer drain. How do I do that?
So that's probably, generally there's a...
is this basically fuel underneath as well, like down here?
There's a fuel sump that is like the fuel lines leading to the engine. Maybe they call it the strainer, and that'll be on one side or the other, sort of toward the bottom of the cowling on most of these.
Somewhere down here, maybe something.
Yeah, on one side or the other, and it's the same.
It's the same process
tool you use.
Yeah. Right. I think I've actually seen it like directly underneath, and you have to like kneel down. I can't get that view, so. Right. So I check that. Then I'm going. It says check the prop and the spinner. So basically, I'm looking at the propeller and just making sure that it's undamaged. I'm always like really skeptical of like moving the propeller though, because I don't want it to accidentally start. But I haven't primed the engine, so it shouldn't.
Yeah, if the magnetos are off.
And the magnetos are off, so we're good. Yeah. Okay. That's right. So I don't have to worry about that.
But you don't really have to. Generally, you don't really have to move it. You just look for like large thing and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. I checked the air filter. That's this like rectangular thing down here. I'm making sure that that's clear of dust or debris. I checked the landing light. I believe the landing light is like this one here, but is it like on the wheels themselves?
Can you zoom back in on that?
I can try.
No, this one doesn't have any kind of a landing light down there. The landing light is up in the wing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I think this is the landing light, and this is like the taxi light.
Yeah.
If you can see my cursor, that is.
Well, yeah, one of them is the landing light, one of them is the taxi light.
All right, and then this isn't on my checklist, but it is something that my instructor said, which is sometimes they forget to put the like covers on some of these engine intakes here, and he said this like as if speaking from experience, to check to make sure there's no bird's nest in there.
Yes.
So I'm gonna look.
It's always
and make
a good
sure,
idea to look at.
There's no like.
If that gets obstructed, then you're gonna have your engine is gonna overheat at like the very inopportune time.
Right.
So.
He said it like it had happened to someone he knew, right? Like, yes. He was like, "No, you really, really want to make sure." It's like,
you wouldn't think, you would never think, except you really should have a look.
And I was like, okay, Rich, okay. Thank you, Rich. I got it. I'll take it from here. And then I go around and I check the static port, which is this little circular thing, and I make sure that like pinhole isn't like covered with glue. You know.
Yep.
Yes.
And that will complete my walk around. So I'll hop back inside. Actually, I'm not going to hop back inside. I'm going to put the parking brake on and turn off the battery and go back into the airport and use the bathroom, and I will be right back.
You did post checklist bathroom break.
There we go. Hold on. Sorry. Just really have to go. Don't want to do it again. You guys are going to have to wait. Make yourself amused.
We're already used. So used. Well, we've entered the snow. The anticipation is over. It's just now a matter of waiting for the snow to like snow.
The snow, yeah.
We can't
Look, it has.
see anything. The stats, we're in nighttime, so there's no stats. So, yeah.
It has the It has the same little like triangular 1970s microphone that the 150 had.
Oh yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah. The same. It has the same VOR instrument as well.
Yes, yeah. It's all pretty similar.
A little bit nicer looking.
Somewhat newer.
I want to see. I'm just like overanalyzing satellite pictures over here.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
There's some water. Just had to take care of that. Let's turn the battery back on. Okay.
What is the ammeter reading?
What?
What is the ammeter reading?
Currently 15, which is weird.
Well, so that means that confirms that positive is amp draw and negative is amp charge, right? So.
Right. All right. Is everybody's seatbelts, harnesses on?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I'm not gonna, make them too tight because we do need to be able to move around the, reach things.
Around the cabin. About the cabin.
No, you're not.
Now it says electrical equipment is off.
Well, if you fail, you just have to do it again.
Okay. Fine.
I'm sorry. Do you need to close the door?
How did my name come up? What was the context there? Oh, and
Are you guys ready to keep going?
Neiman is talking to Ellie.
Okay.
I'm back. I'm done. Can you close the
Okay,
door?
right.
Please.
So I just quickly went through these. I made sure the electrical equipment was off, made sure the avionics were off, made sure the fuel selector is on both, and made sure the fuel shutoff valve is on open.
Yeah.
Now we're allowed to continue. I'm going to adjust the throttle forward. Right about there. Mixture to idle. I should tick these. I am going to open my door a little bit so that they can hear me outside of the aircraft. Specifically, this guy.
He's never gonna hear you.
I'm gonna look around, make sure that there's no one else that's in a close place. I literally don't know how to get this guy out of here, so he's literally just gonna have to deal with it. But I'm speaking
have you tried
to
clicking
him.
The little button next to clear. Does that do anything?
No, it's basically just like a. I don't know.
I don't know.
I actually don't know what that
something
is.
you have to do. I think that's.
It
what
is,
that
but
means.
I don't know what it is.
Anyway, I'm going to open the door and I'm going to scream really loudly at this guy. And if he doesn't go, I'm going to walk up to him and tell him to get the fuck out of my way. And then, and I'm not going to be polite, and I'm going to go into my plane. And if he really doesn't move, then I'll have you guys help me out. We're going to push the plane and we're just going to point it over here,
Right. Okay.
And then I'm going to climb back in. and I'm going to scream, clear! And then I'm going to turn the battery on. Typically, okay, so this is like in the wrong order, I feel like. I feel like you should put everything like in place right until you hit ignition, then yell clear, then ignite it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that is better.
So that's, I personally disagree with this, yeah. So I'm going to turn the battery on, I'm going to turn the beacon light on, I'm going to set the mixture to rich, I'm going to set the fuel pump 1000, 1000, 1000, 4. Cool. Mixture to lean. Tick. Feet ready to brake. I'm going to keep the parking brake set, but my feet are ready.
Make sure the mixture isn't like too lean.
Yeah, so that's what I was asking earlier. What does lean mean, right? Like,
Well, you're gonna need some fuel flow, so I think.
right.
I don't know, like
Half?
sure, half probably. Yeah.
I just literally don't know what lean means, right? So
Half worked really well last. So.
that's true. It did work really well last time. Before I deleted the video. Cry. All right, and then I'll start it up. That should have been louder, to be honest. But hold on.
It's just very well soundproofed.
It's just not showing up very loud in my headphones. Sorry. This is actually better.
All right.
Can you hear that better?
Sounds the same.
It
Okay.
sounds the same, but that's fine. It's more important for you.
I just wanted to like hear the engine. You know, I didn't actually hear it start. I was like, that was about as quiet as the avionics fan. I was like, that's not normal. All right. And now it wants me to set the mixture back to rich. Like, I don't, like, if it's not rich on ignition, is that because it doesn't want it to, like, flood the engine? Like, what?
I think it has to do with the fuel injection system. I don't know, honestly.
Okay, because I was just very confused by this. Anyway, mixture's at rich. Adjust throttle to 1000. It is currently just a little bit above 1000, so that's too much.
That's so much.
I'm trying to do this with the keyboard because I'm gonna have to do this in flight.
If you just get it to near 1000, doesn't have to be exactly 1000.
Well, it's close.
But I would err to the above 1000 side rather than below. That looks good.
Right. Oil pressure is low. All right, look at this. It's low, guys.
That's fine. You're only at 1000 RPM.
But it is above. There is a red line on it, right?
True. You know, I didn't notice that, admittedly.
That's the Avenol, the Avenol in you.
You know, your explanation.
Oh, the red line. I don't know if you're
Above the red line. It's between 20 and 115, so it's probably fine. That airplane hasn't seen a checklist in 20 years.
I know. We flew it so many times.
Your explanation though that it's like only at 1000 RPM makes total sense because you know at a higher RPM, yeah, it'll be in the range. That yeah, okay. Tick alternator is
I was talking about
not on. There we go.
You're talking about the what? The
I was talking about the toe
No,
plane.
I that's why I got.
Yep,
it.
Okay.
we understood, but yeah.
I didn't think it was the one. The toe plane was just obviously nobody cared about the checklist for that.
All right, so now the ammeter is reading -60.
So that means, what does that mean?
That means it's charging the battery.
Yes,
Right.
quickly.
But
Good.
it's going to remain this way for the foreseeable future until I like start
No,
taxiing around.
Yeah, it only takes a minute. It's kind of a large indication.
All right, well, I'll come back and check that, I guess. I know I'm not supposed to skip items, but
I think the thing you're supposed to check is that it says it's charging the battery.
It should. If it's charging the battery, you just don't want it to be in the positive. You don't care.
Yeah, you want it to be. Yeah, exactly. Non-zero, negative.
I thought it was like supposed to be 0.
No,
It's supposed to be 0 in a steady state, but you just had to start the engine. And so-
I can't think of a problem with it being like,
Cool.
What's gonna happen?
I nothing. Yeah. Avionics switches are on. My good old radio panel, which did turn on in the last video, still isn't turning on. But that's fine. Radios. Yeah. Like, the radio panels here are on, but, like, in real life, my, like, radio panel is... It can interface with the game. Like, if I like... So in order to, like, change the frequency here, I use this button, right? But if I'm not changing that, I can actually still change it with my radio, right? The thing is that it doesn't show the displays, so I have to look at the screen to change it, which is irritating. The displays used to work in the video that you watched and I deleted, right? And I don't know what I did differently. But it's not as simple as plug and play. I had to ask on the Microsoft Flight Simulator forums to figure out how to get the SPAD to work.
It probably needs to be launched before Flight Simulator, is my guess.
You know what? That's a really good guess, and it's almost certainly true, because I think that's what I did differently. Okay. So, I'm going to go to the VFR map. I'm checking the frequency here. So, please... Oh, fuck. I can't... I have to remember not to zoom in anymore. 124.0.
That's the tower.
Is the control tower.
You can actually go to... If you go to sectional on the drop-down there, you can zoom in.
Ooh, alright.
No, I can't.
Sorry,
that's the max zoom in.
Oh, that's... okay.
But it will prevent me from accidentally zooming in and killing it. So it's better. Okay, and then Paso is untowered. Okay. San Luis Obispo's towered, that's right, because we have, like, jetliners and cool things. Okay. 124, 120.6.
An occasional glider.
Yeah.
Right.
Very occasional. Oh, and that, the Rutan craft.
Yeah, the boomerang.
Yeah.
Okay, so active frequency is the tower frequency. Non-active frequency is the AWAS, I think.
Yeah.
ATIS, rather, which is should be weather, right?
Weather and other information. Yeah. Let's see if it goes.
Okay, so I didn't catch all of that. Wind 256, 7 knots. Visibility 7 nautical miles. Temperature 15. 2.13.
Oh.
Alright, so... Ah! How do I get it to go away?
I don't know.
I can change the frequency. Fuck off! No!
Oh, weird.
It's not working.
Oh, it's even on.
No, I put it on my standby, and then I, like, fucked the frequency.
Strange. Just try switching it back now.
Well, it's not on the right frequency now. Hold on.
Yeah, so try to put it back active. No, don't. I'm saying on the wrong frequency, put it back active.
Oh.
Oh, it stopped.
Well, it stopped after 3, right? Which is what it's, I think, supposed to do.
No. Yeah, I think it's... Maybe that's a bug where it plays the whole transmission, even once you've switched off of it, which is weird.
Okay, let's try it.
That could be. Yeah, that could be.
So there it goes. I'm switching it to... Okay, well then it stopped.
Okay, and it stopped. Alright.
So it is a bug, and it only happens some of the time.
Got it.
Right, so departing runway was 29er. Winds are roughly in my face and only 7 knots, so really very little crosswind. There are scattered clouds, like some clouds, but there's not that many of them. I actually don't 100% remember the rules for VFR flight as far as like how far you have to stay away from the clouds, but I do know
A mile, I think.
you have to stay away from the clouds. It's there was like a fractional way of remembering it. It was like 33 over 5 or something, which was like.
I have to leave in like 15 minutes. Let's move on.
Oh well, Neiman, you're never gonna make it.
45 minutes, but
tick.
But yes, let's go.
Right.
We don't need to do extended weather discussion as much as I'd like that.
Right. So I'll get a move on here.
Remind me sometime we'll talk about transponders, but that's a long conversation, so don't worry about it.
Okay, legitimate question. It says heading indicator set. We are currently, it says northwest, but I actually don't believe that.
No, that's right. That's right.
Are you sure?
Well, so the thing that you do is you look at the compass, because you use the compass to set the heading indicator, and then you use like your intuition to make sure the compass is broadly correct.
Right.
But
well, I was
yes,
using
we
my
are
intuition,
pointing northwest.
and my intuition is like north is roughly this way, which would mean that we're northeast.
No, where's the ocean?
The ocean is, well, it's all around us, back over here. That's a fair point, actually. But even so, I would have thought we would be northeast.
No, northeast would be east of Paso.
Yeah, and I think that's where we're pointing.
No, where the grade is
The grade is like
off to the
here, right?
No, the grade
is
off to the right.
Grade is pretty much straight ahead, but the
It's
the
not off to
101
my
makes
right.
a Serious the 101 is to the west of our route, so or the direct route, I should say, not the route
Right.
we're probably gonna take. But.
Okay, so heading indicator set. Altimeter 299er2. That looks right, but let me confirm with the VFR map. Our elevation is 212 feet, if I'm reading that properly, and this shows up as being a little less than 212, but it's close. So frankly, it's fine-ish. But let's see if I can.
2992. Yeah.
Well, this is a little further than 299er2. This would be like 299er4 or 299er6. Anyway, but if I were to put it at 299er2, right, which is here, right, that just means that we're lower than the 212 that's indicated on the VFR map as our altitude.
Yes.
Which is possible, right?
That's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what you want.
Okay.
Yeah. When it's hotter, you really want that set to what the temperature of the
Right.
pressure altitude is.
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. Right. If you want to err, you want to err on that side rather than on the other.
Yeah.
Okay. In game again. I was taking things slowly and explaining things to you guys so that you know what I'm thinking, but I will attempt to go a
No,
little
you
bit
can
quicker.
still do that. You can still do that. It's just no extended discussions about
Yep,
it. So-
right. Attitude indicator here. This is looking pretty good, but I'm asking, should it be here or should it be, oh, no, should it be there?
I don't know. I've never
There?
used that.
Or there?
I've never flown that far, so I don't know.
Sorry.
Disappear for a minute there.
I think this is fine. I think it's fine where it is.
What happened?
I was asking, should
Yeah.
it be here or should it be there?
It should be the second one.
Good.
Where it is
Okay,
now.
so I calibrated it. Cool. Taxi light. It's daytime. Do I need a taxi light? I think so.
It's a good habit.
Do I need the landing light? Probably not.
No.
Do I need the strobe light?
Yeah.
The strobe is the nav lights you need. The strobe, I think you're not supposed to have that on the ground so that you don't flash in other people's eyes.
That's what I thought.
They can be bright.
And nav light on. And parking brake off.
Are we rolling? Or you have the brakes? in?
No, I've got the brakes on.
Okay, here's something I was going to tell you. When it says test brakes, it means like roll a couple feet and then see if the brakes actually stop you.
Oh, well, I can try that by increasing the throttle a little bit and not killing that guy.
You don't even really have. You don't even have to increase the throttle. At idle, it should want to roll away.
Well, it doesn't. I'm at idle. I have to actually increase it to roughly 12,000. No, 1,200 RPM in order for it to want to roll. Right, right there. Right. So I'm just turning away from that guy so that I don't kill him, and the brakes work.
Okay.
Okay. Good to go.
Okay. Tick item rudder. Actually, let me go external quickly. This is something that I would do, and I would basically, I'm gonna be in my cabin, like looking, you know, and having my passengers look too, probably.
Right.
But I'm checking the controls. So what I'm doing right now is I'm basically making sure that I have like freedom of movement, so that the controls aren't getting like stuck or like they feel like they should, you know. But I'm also watching to make sure that the ailerons work. Right, so I'm going back and forth on those. That my I could check the flaps, but I've already checked the flaps, so I'm going to check the elevators. And then I'm going to check the rudder. Right?
Yep.
Okay, and that's good.
So these three are like, once you start rolling and turning and stuff, you check if they're moving appropriately, basically.
Okay.
So I wouldn't worry about those for.
What I had been doing was I was checking the compass to make sure that it lines up with what I expect. But okay.
Yeah, well, that's also important, I guess. That's part of that, I suppose. But yeah.
Oh, not that much! Not that much! Not that much!
So
that's better.
We're gonna have to get on the ground frequency and contact them. And I looked it up. It's 121.6, so it's only 1 megahertz off of.
Okay, we're on ground frequency then. I actually don't know the shortcut key. I think it's C, but I'm not 100% sure to transmit, to be honest. Because the transmit light should come on when I transmit, right?
Well, so go on the ATC panel and see what it'll.
It just basically has like, you know, request this, and it'll like say it for you. And I don't want it to do that. I want to say it, right?
Okay. Well, so then say it and then click it, and we'll see how you did.
That's actually a good way to test it. I have heard that the ATC automatic communications are like a little off, but they're probably not as bad as I'm gonna do.
They're pretty good, I think. They were pretty good in Flight Simulator 10. They weren't awesome, and I think these are almost the same. So.
Okay, so as far as like the ground frequency is concerned, I have to like, because it's a towered airport, I have to request like taxi to runway 29er then.
Yeah, so this is why it doesn't have runway numbers, because it's assuming you just want to, like, you can scroll down and see what other options there are there. In that.
I see. Right.
Right, so you can ask to, like, taxi wherever.
Right. Well, I want a taxi to the runway.
Well, you want a taxi and you're going to depart to the north, right? So that could dictate a different runway, potentially, if they're using multiple ones.
True, but I was paying attention to the wind. I want to depart to the north.
29. Yeah, no, so they'll give you 29 if you ask to depart to the north. So what are you going to ask them?
Okay, hold on. I'm actually just checking something quickly. I think my parking brake was on. I was like, why wasn't I rolling? Okay.
There you go.
Okay, so I'm on the active frequency. You won't see me hit the transmit button because it won't work, but I'll just say it, you know?
Right, yeah.
I have to put my thoughts together. I'm not moving. I'm fine. No one's counting on me. Right now, I'm good. Hold on. Give me a second. So I would just say San Luis Obispo when I'm, like, addressing ATC then?
It would be, so the tower is called San Luis Tower.
San Luis Tower. Okay.
And then, so the ground would be what?
San Luis ground.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I mean, I'm literally only like experienced with CTAF when there's like almost no one else around. So you're basically just saying it like it's not even a courtesy. Like you're literally just like there's no one else in the sky, but like maybe there's someone and you don't see them. So you're like, it's for your own safety, right? Yeah. And then you fly around a lot and you do some like wacko, like crazy loops that like you shouldn't be doing, and then you fly back and like there's just no one in the airspace. So that's Wisconsin for you. Okay, so
what is the structure of there? Let's just go full on.
It's okay. So the structure is okay, so in Mori, right, or at the airport that I'm locally at, what I basically say is I address traffic first because that's the CTAF. But in this case, I'll be addressing ground. So I'll say San Luis ground. Then I say who I am, which would be my call sign, 77 Echo in this case is what I'm deciding to call myself. But I might give them a little bit more information like Skyhawk 77 Echo or something so that they know that I'm like the Cessna on the ground or something. Or I could say Cessna 77 Echo.
As a practical concern, you want to give them your whole call sign the first time you contact ATC on any flight because they have to write it down, and then you can abbreviate it after that.
Right.
And so the full one that would be the whole number.
Okay, so then I would be so I'd say San Luis ground 3477 Echo, and then I say I talk to them, I say who I am, I say what I want next, like what my intentions are or something, and I'll say like. Request taxi depart. Hold on, I'm trying to say not for, right? What I want to say is request taxi for north departure, but I'm not supposed to say for, right? So
I mean, you can
request taxi north departure, and then
you could say yeah, it's whatever. Anyway, go ahead.
And then I repeat who I'm talking to, San Luis ground at the end.
So you only do that when it's not a real person. So like the CTAF is just people out there in general.
Right, because you just want to make sure that if someone like caught the tail end of whatever you're saying, that they know that it's for like the local area and that it's clear, because otherwise it's just a whole lot of babble, right? But when you're talking to someone, right, okay. Yeah, so I don't have to repeat
it's like a real controller, you don't have to repeat. The other thing that you need in there is where you are. Right.
Right.
So that usually comes after your call sign and before where you want to go. And that's kind of like local knowledge, so I'll just go ahead and tell you that where you are, it's the west ramp.
The west what?
The west ramp.
The west ramp?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I probably could have guessed that, but okay. So do I just say west ramp and they'll know that that's, where I am?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd say San Luis ground 3477 Echo, west ramp, request taxi north departure.
Yeah.
And then what does the tower say?
And then we'll find out, but it'll be something like whatever your full call sign was. 34.
November 3477 Echo, ready to taxi north departure with Mike.
Okay, I don't think you say the end though, right? You don't say November, because everybody's in.
Well, you can, but go ahead and acknowledge it. So press 1.
Well, I don't want to press 1. I want to actually acknowledge it, right?
Yeah, they're gonna get the fake controller will get pissed off at you.
Yeah,
if you don't
they're gonna get
acknowledge it.
Fine. Short runway 29er by taxiway Charlie Alpha Bravo Foxtrot Echo 777 Echo.
Right, so it abbreviates it now, and then it just basically reads back what you guys said.
Yeah.
Taxiing, hold short, runway 29er, via taxiway Charlie Alpha Bravo Foxtrot Echo. Okay, I'm going to have to find where these are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so I can tell you how to do that on your computer right now.
Hold on.
Go to AirNav, for SPP.
Online?
And then, yes. This is something that you would have like loaded into your iPad or whatever. Or in paper, but nobody does that.
I'm the
On
paper
your-
guy.
On your iPhone 5.
Yeah. And
I
then
would
you
probably
scroll
have it on
down.
my phone, yeah. There's no scroll.
Scroll down. Oh, so yeah. So you'll have to search for SPP.
Hit airport.
Airport.
Hit airport. And then KSPP.
Oh, I have
And
been to this site.
airport. Right, yeah, you were on it in your video.
Yeah, but I didn't search through it like this. I just like searched airport information, C29
Yeah,
or whatever.
That also works. But so this below the sectional, that basic one, if you click on that, it'll give you the big. Or maybe you have to click download PDF.
Ah, mother of God! It's sideways. How do I rotate this thing?
Top left by page 1 of 1.
No, that's the page up, page down buttons.
Well,
let's look at it sideways then.
Maybe the drop down.
It looks like I go from the west ramp here.
You can just use Echo, right? Did they say you could use Echo?
It said Charlie Alpha Bravo Foxtrot Echo.
That makes no sense.
That makes no fucking sense. Right, because Charlie's here, Alpha's here, I'm in the west ramp. They don't know where I am.
Oh, they don't know where you are. That's what's going on. All right, Nina,
So-
you're in the tower now.
On
Yeah.
the tower now? Okay, alright.
Well, you're going to have to know this for yourself, right? So you want me to do probably Echo, hold short of runway, cross one way, taxi Alpha, and then enter runway and take
Maybe-
off, right?
Can we get it? The game will give you a diagram.
Yes,
Yeah,
it does,
okay.
but it doesn't have like the labeling, I don't think. Hold
Doesn't
on.
have
Let's take a look
It's
at
got
that.
this. And I
Can
can
you
open
zoom
this
in
up a
any
little
more
bit
than
bigger.
that?
This is the furthest I can zoom.
Okay.
I
so
can
that's
give
good
it
enough.
this, I can give it this, but neither of those give me the lettering, which is not particularly helpful.
Wait, do you have
Maybe-
to cross the runway to get to the end?
Yes, you have
I
to
guess
cross
so.
here on
Okay.
Charlie, and then you go on Alpha to the end, and then you're there.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember the
Yeah,
numbers.
let's just do that and
Incur whatever wrath we have to incur. They can't really do anything.
They can send a little car on you.
Yeah.
Right. They actually have done that. The game has sent cars at me before when I have blatantly ignored all ATC communication. And I'm like, what is this guy here for? I'm gonna just taxi right around him. Fuck that guy. Let me get some gas and then take back off, and bam, I'm out of there. They'll never catch me.
I can't believe they can actually send a car out.
Now, I don't know if it was because I had ignored the ATC communication, but there was a car that, like, drove straight up to me, and it had, like, flashing lights, and I'm like, I'm in trouble.
Alright.
Okay.
So let's do that.
So, yeah, when I say I'm taxiing, I should actually be taxiing, right.
Yes.
Right.
The problem is I can't see all the controls and, like, see a little bit over the dashboard at the same time, so... Did it?
That's fine.
You want to minimize the checklist, potentially?
Give me a sec.
Oh, look! It
What?
has a little description of each one. I didn't even notice that until just now.
What aren't you noticing?
At the bottom, under tick item.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Anyway, I'm basically just maneuvering on the keyboard right now. This is just how it's going to be. The keyboard is a little less responsive than you would hope it to be, and then it'll be way more responsive when you really don't want it to be.
Of course.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
let's
actually I have
go
no
that
idea where
way.
I am.
That's good. Just go straight.
Okay.
Always. Around the right side of the plane.
This is totally unrealistic. They don't have that French jet planes, like, it's busting. It's like dead on the ramp here.
Well, we're about to drive through where our hangar was.
Yeah, that's right, the hangars are supposed to be there as well.
Maybe the taxiway signs will have the proper, or the improper, but what the game thinks the taxiways are.
I think the feedback I have for you now is you're taxiing quite quickly.
I understand that, and I'm trying.
Okay, alright.
It's
Probably want to have the throttle low.
the throttle is about as low as it can be when I'm like still maintaining forward motion.
Okay.
Okay, so this says Charlie, right?
Yeah, so just keep going.
This is the little runway though. Still.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna minimize that a little bit. I'm gonna put my foot there. Right. So I'm like basically stopping. Right. This is one of those things where like the flight simulator's not gonna do it perfectly, and that is any ground taxiing.
Well,
Now,
so
the ground
scroll
taxiing
down.
seems to have gone pretty well. It's probably not with the keyboard.
Let's see what RPM you're running.
Sure.
Oh.
I'm at roughly 14. So actually,
Yeah,
I could
so
probably
you can
go
bring
lower.
that, once you're rolling, you can bring that back down, right? It's,
Yep.
It's like there's a getting it rolling amount
Yep.
that you need.
Okay. So is it this one here?
I think you go left. Yeah.
I think you're right. I think I go
And
left.
cross.
You have to request
right.
Yep. I understand.
You should, but so you could open the ATC tab and see if it's giving you that option now.
Well, so
Well, just Neiman.
the way I was gonna do this was I wasn't
it.
gonna actually do it in the ATC. I was
Right.
just gonna make the calls, and then
Yeah, that's fine. Just go ahead.
the way I was
Yeah.
gonna do it was if you weren't gonna be the ATC, I was just gonna have the ATC just automatically approve everything I want. You know, which is not how it almost ever works. But I'm just gonna do it. You know, as long as I'm making the calls the right way, right?
That's all right. I'll do better than that. I'll be the.
So at this point, I probably should pull a little bit more forward, but I'll just say San Luis ground 77 Echo, holding short of runway 29. Request approval to cross.
What taxiway are you in?
I'm
that's what they would need to
fuck.
know
Where
that.
would I put
Yeah, we
that?
don't know that.
I'm on
think
taxiway Charlie. I'm on taxiway Charlie. But
Alright.
how would I say that in the
Holding
briefest
short.
way? Holding short Charlie.
Holding short of X runway at Y taxiway.
Okay. San Luis ground 77 Echo, holding short of runway 29er at taxiway Charlie. Request permission to cross.
Yeah, so that whole last part is implicit.
True. True. Good point. Very good point. It is kind of
Right.
implicit.
77 Echo. The whole last part was implicit.
77 Echo cleared across 29 at Charlie.
And then I'm freaking out because my airplane isn't moving, and I'm trying to like get the get the plane moving so that I actually cross the fucking runway, and the guy's like screaming at me, but he's not transmitting because he's a nice guy.
They never
Yeah,
are.
and so you should come back and say.
Oh yeah, I have to
cross
repeat.
29 at Charlie. That's okay.
Crossing runway 29er Charlie 77 Echo.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I'm learning. This is all new to me too. So,
Okay.
I'm learning and writing this down.
See,
And then
you're
would I
running a
have
really
to,
large amount of throttle.
Yeah, you're really going quite quickly.
Would I have to tell them that I'm clear of the runway, or will they just see
No,
that I'm
they
clear
know
of it?
that. They know.
Okay.
Yeah. If they needed that, they would ask you. Because if you're in like a spot where they couldn't see it or whatever.
So me going a little too fast explains why my aircraft keeps trying to like go fly, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing that is going to happen if you're actually taxiing this fast is you could damage like your wheels.
Right.
You know.
Okay,
So
but
you
now
can
I'm at full idle now, right? And I'm
run
just like
someone
coasting.
over. Yeah, but like, that's
Yeah.
what the brakes are for.
Right, but my
Yeah,
plane is
but
still
you-
like,
Yeah, that's
Having
because you were
issues.
going really fast earlier.
well, it's doing
So
it
you're
now
still
too. Okay, well now
Well,
it's not.
'cause-
All right.
The ground's also not totally smooth.
Right. Okay.
As it should
That's
be.
fair.
That's
That's fair.
true, yeah.
I noticed that earlier.
Is that a Bonanza off to my left?
I think so. Yeah,
Shit.
I kind of missed it.
I also missed it.
That one?
Yeah, that's a bonanza.
It's got the look.
Scott the Hook!
Thought you were gonna start humming the theme to Bonanza.
Okay, so
right, that makes way more sense.
question:
Ellie was doing that
when I'm
yesterday.
holding short of the runway. Question: when I'm holding short of the runway as I prepare to take off, do I contact the tower or do I contact ground?
So you would
Would I have
contact
been
the tower,
contacting
'cause the
tower this whole time?
No, you can talk to
No.
the ground. They told you, if you remember, in your call to contact ground.
Right.
Contact the tower. When ready, contact tower at 124.0.
All right, so I'm going to change the frequency
But-
there.
Usually at this point you run up, right?
Yeah, you gotta test the engine, make sure it doesn't pull up on you.
Right. Parking brake. Oh, it wants me to set the parking brake again. Can do. Check. Are you guys in your upright position? It's a Cessna 12072. I don't know if this is in the right. Are you guys buckled?
Buckle.
Yeah.
I know I already asked. Okay, so flight controls. I already checked free and correct though. So I'm gonna.
I feel like what you do now. This is a glider thing. You just kind of move the stick around and make sure it's still doing what you think it's doing.
It is.
It's not really necessary, but.
Yep. Flight instruments.
So that
I
usually,
believe-
that's generally a navigation thing at this stage, and you double check the altimeter setting maybe, but
Right, but I'm completely ignoring the
yeah. So
the
that
nav.
doesn't-
I'm just gonna do like VFR and just screw it.
right.
Fuel
Check for
quantity
the-
indicators. Oh, how much have I burned in the taxi? Right. I've got enough. Okay.
Not that much. Yeah.
Mixture set to rich. Fuel selector both. Autopilot. I'm not going to because I don't think the Cessna 172 has autopilot.
I don't think so.
This one I think does, or it may, but it's fine. Just do it.
So I'm skipping that. I'm going to throttle to 1800. Then I have to look at the throttle. Okay.
Is it Neiman? Is this like a full throttle thing, or is this like a sort of
No,
nose throttle?
This is not full throttle. It's just.
Partial.
Okay.
Well, I'm a little past it, but it did make it.
So just
How
go-
long do
yeah,
I hold
keep
this
trying-
for?
Well, so you gotta check a couple things, right? So the magnetos, you turn one off at a time.
Oh,
and you
that's
see
how that
much
works.
The drop is, yeah.
I was
But you have
explaining
to
in
go
the
back
previous
to both
one.
You have to go back to both before you go
Before
to the
each.
other one.
Right, I remember that, but I forgot entirely about what I'm looking for. How do I know that, like,
You look at the
I'm looking at the RPMs? Right, okay.
yeah, and you look so you see how much drop is. So we're at like 1875 or whatever. So we'll remember
1850,
that.
call it. Okay, and then magnetos, I have to check the left and the right. Okay, so left.
Go left.
I mean, that wasn't
Okay.
150.
No, that was like 100.
Yeah.
That
But
moves.
it's just a max decrease. It's not an actual decrease. You don't
True.
want it to decrease more than 100.
Right, okay, and now I'm gonna flip it to right. I went back to both.
Yeah, so you go twice. Yeah.
I mean, it didn't decrease more than 150.
But it has
No.
to be 50 for the other one, right?
Max
Well, yeah, so
difference
that-
between the two? Yeah, I think we're in line with that, though.
Yeah. That
And then
checks out.
both. Back to both. Right?
Right.
Okay.
Vacuum gauge, check. It's in the green, so we're good. Oil pressure, check. We're good.
It's in the green.
Temperature, check. It's in the green. Ammeter,
Meter.
is at 0. Check. Annunciator is clear. Check. Engine idle. We're checking that this is at 600 to 650. It's at 650, roughly.
Okay.
Throttle adjust to 1,000. Doing it by mouse because I know it's like 12-13%. Cool.
All right.
Tick.
We're almost there.
Radios. Okay, so I'm at 124. That's the tower. 121.6 is the ground, right? I actually probably do want to check what the frequencies are at Paso. So that's 100 and... No, that's the wrong one. It's 120.125 for... Wait. Is that ASOS? No, it's 123.0 for common. Right, okay.
Yes.
And I'll check those probably in flight again, but I will remember 123.0 because that's the same one as it is in Mori. I think it's also like pretty standard. Okay, radios are set. Avionics, I'm ignoring basically all of the panels, so that's fine. Nav GPS switch, same thing, ignoring. I don't know what ALT means.
So there's it's actually altitude encoding. So you scroll in on the transponder real quick, and then that knob on the right. Right now, it's on
ALT, I switched it.
ALT, yeah. So
okay. So that's like the ADSB or something?
Well, it's not ADSB, but it doesn't have to be, but we'll have a whole conversation about this.
Okay.
That's fine. For now, just put it on.
It wants flaps 0 to 10 degrees. Is there a reason why it would be at 10 degrees? I've always done it at 0 for takeoff.
For short takeoff situations, maybe 10 degrees is better than 0, but 0 is fine.
I think this isn't really very short, though.
No, it's not.
No,
San Luis Obispo is pretty long. Cabin windows, please check your windows. They're locked, and yep, closed and locked. And then just make sure to release that fucking parking brake. Right. Normal takeoff. Flaps already at 0. Throttle, I'm going to go full. Mixture's rich. Annunciator is going to be, I'm just going to check that clear. Airspeed indicator, I'm going to look at this to make sure that it's going 55 knots when I try to take off. Initial climb 70 to 80. I'm going to aim closer to 80, honestly. And then flaps up I won't have to worry about because I'm at 0. And then on external, let me look around again. If the engine fails like at like 400 feet or something, like right after takeoff, what's my plan? It's probably to just... No, my plan would probably be to like line up with what is it? I may not have enough time to line up, right? Because it's just under 400 feet. So maybe my plan is to just go straight into that big park that's on the other side of the road here.
Well, there's some hills over there.
I know there's hills here, but there's actually these. The problem is that there's trees, right? But there's some pretty wide open fields on the other side of that, between the lake and the hills, right? Yeah, Laguna Lake. And if I make it further than that, right, there's some really wide open fields without trees that I can make it to, which are nice. So that's probably my plan if my engine fails right there. Which, for the record, it's not because I have it turned off, but I want to have a plan. If the engine fails a little higher than that, at like 1,000 or 2,000 feet, I'm probably going to, request a mayday or something from San Luis and request immediate routing back down so that I can turn around and make it back to the runway. And then I would try to restart my engine, but probably fail. And I'd probably turn back around before I call the tower.
This is a whole other discussion. There's a lot to think about there.
All right, we won't think about it too much then right now.
You want flaps, and you want a whole bunch of shit.
Right, you want to be at optimal glide and right. Okay. Okay. The thing about flaps, this is well, maybe I shouldn't talk about that right now because we don't want to get into extended discussions. But it's a question about flaps, right? Flaps increase drag on the aircraft, right? But they optimize the wing for max lift, right?
Yes.
So it basically gives you a floaty sensation, right?
Yeah.
But that makes sense on the max lift side, but on the max drag side, right? Wouldn't that mean that you're also falling faster? It's two conflicting scenarios that I don't really know how to rectify in my mind.
You just can go slower. It forward speed. It doesn't make you. Yes.
It doesn't make you fall faster. It just makes you It'll lower your stall speed so that you can go slower before you
Have the touchdown.
have the touchdown. Okay.
Yeah, it flaps out will make you like yeah. You'll land in less time, but you'll be slower.
All right. San Luis Tower. 3433. What is my call sign? I've already said 7-7 Echo to the ground people, but I haven't said 7-7 Echo to the tower, so I have to say my full sign, right?
No, so now they get handed, like, they used to be a piece of paper, but now it's not anymore. But they get handed a thing that says call sign and what you're doing, so you're good
Okay.
to go. You just hit 7-7 Echo.
San Luis Tower, 7-7 Echo, request takeoff, runway 29. Is that all I have to say?
You probably won't want to say which way you're going again. So
Well, runway 29 implies north, right?
No, because you could take off on this and turn around, right?
Yeah, the direction is not about which direction you are going when you leave the ground, but which direction you intend to go fly.
Oh, okay. So, San Luis Tower, 7-7 Echo, request takeoff, runway 29er, north.
North departure.
North departure.
Yeah. So that's fine, but generally this is like kind of nitpicking. But
Please
I'll
do.
tell you now,
Please
so you know
nitpick. I want
forever. There's this people. Some people will tell you that the word takeoff is supposed to be reserved for clearances, and also when you read back
yes.
the clearance.
Right.
And so you just say like ready for departure or ready to go or whatever.
Thank you for the reminder. They did cover that in ground school, and I have forgotten. Okay.
Wow.
Uh,
I wouldn't have expected that.
no, they did talk about that. I remember it now that you mention it. All right. So what does ATC say? Should I activate it here?
Recall. Do a recall.
Okay. San Luis Tower, 7-7 Echo. Whose tower? Okay, hold on. I'll re-say it and I'll speak to Bomber.
Who's on the tower?
Oh no, hold on. My headphones got trapped in my chair. I have to free them. Okay.
Center's on.
Not what you want to say. San Luis Tower, 7-7 Echo, request departure north runway 29er, ready to go.
I don't know what to say.
Was I better?
That was good. Yeah.
7-7 Echo, clear for takeoff, runway 29, departure to the north of route.
7-7 Echo, cleared for takeoff.
Yeah, you probably want to say 29 also, but other than that.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 29er.
There you go.
I want to minimize that checklist.
Yep.
Or you can have it open, and then you know what to do.
Well, I know what to do, but you're right. I should have it. Okay. Okay, and full throttle. Actually, that's not full throttle. There we go. That's full throttle. So this is a probably going to be an issue for me in real life too, but it's especially an issue on my keyboard. It's going to be super jittery.
Yeah, it's kind of a jittery rudder on the ground. I've noticed that. That's a simulator issue.
Yep. So I was waiting for 55 knots takeoff. I'm now climbing. I'm pointing my nose a little bit above the horizon, and my airspeed is between 70 and 80 knots, so that's looking good. And yeah, sure, I'll pull up the checklist. My flaps are up, and yeah, I've covered it, so I'm good.
You're turning a little bit.
I know! I'm trying to keep the nose straight. That's because I had to take my hands off of the controls in order to open the checklist, okay? It's task saturation, god damn it! Do I have to say anything to Tower right now?
No.
Okay, when do I have to say anything more to Tower?
So,
in terms of like airspace and climbing to a given altitude.
The airspace goes. Do you remember how far out class Delta airspace usually goes?
No, I don't.
In ground school? Okay, usually it's 5 statute miles, so like
Okay.
4 point whatever nautical miles.
So, like, as I get close to the coast.
Yeah, well, no, it's not even that far, but and we're gonna turn before then anyway, right? To go to Paso.
Yep.
But you'll see it on the little GPS display if you look for it. But the point is, it's you stay with them, and then if they call you, you respond until you're outside of that airspace, either altitude-wise or laterally, and then they may tell you, you know, like frequency change approved, and then you can go to a different frequency, and then you respond to that and say like, okay, you know.
What does it sound like? What does it sound like if they want you to change direction for some reason?
They would say, because you know they're anticipating that you're in the pattern, so they'd say 77 Echo, start your turn to the north now for traffic, right?
Well, I wasn't going to go into the pattern. I was just going to do a straight out departure.
Right, but they would, you know, they know what you're trying to do, and then they would ask you to do something in that direction, maybe at a different time, or they might say, you know, 77 Echo, traffic is a Bonanza on final under runway 11, sending through 2,000 feet at your 12 o'clock in 2 miles, right?
Oh God, yeah, get out of the way. Why did you do that? On transmit, you know, total. Okay.
Comment. I love how much like an airplane or an airplane mic Bija's headset sounds. It sounds like he's actually flying.
Okay.
So questions for you guys. Number one, what altitude do you think I should be flying at?
I think you should try to get up to 4,500.
This is something I should look at the. I was going to say 5,000 as well, but I was going to say I should probably have looked at the VFR map before starting flights, that I know how tall the fucking grade is. And I don't know how tall the grade is, but I think 5,000 will probably cut it.
you can assess it visually.
Yes, this is true. I can be like, oh, I need to go higher. Yeah.
So you're going pretty fast for trying to climb.
This is true. I can reduce power.
Well,
that's not quite what he meant.
What did you mean? Get like my nose even higher up so that I'm like going even like slower but climbing faster?
Yeah. No, keep your rate of climb constant.
Yeah, but if I'm gonna keep my rate of climb constant, right?
Yeah.
I can either reduce power
or pull your nose up.
Or pull my nose up.
Yeah.
Which will actually increase the rate of climb.
Right.
Also, my low fuel light just came on.
That's fine. We put 33%. What
True.
percentage does it come on?
I don't know. It's indicating low on both, but my fuel indicator is showing the same on both, and we still have like 7 gallons. We were a little bit heavy because you two fat fucks are in the back, but
keep your you know, your flight controls are fluctuating a little bit while you're talking, so just keep your.
I am paying attention to the flight controls.
Yeah.
I am level. My altimeter is still going up. I'm still climbing towards 4,500. I'm still pointed in roughly the right direction.
Yeah,
and my speed is still 90.
As soon as you realized that your fuel was low, all of those started to fluctuate.
Oh, I didn't notice. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, you wouldn't, right?
all right, I'm back.
Hello.
We just got a low fuel light.
But
fine.
We're good. Yeah.
No, we're good.
What's altitude? 3,000?
We're currently at 3,000 ASL, which is.
Neiman, elaborate on what you meant by too fast and what you should do to flux.
So,
compensate for that.
So you can, you know, the motor is adding energy to the airplane, and the drag is taking it away. So there's, you know, the faster you go, the more drag you have.
Yep.
And the less energy you can put into climb.
Right.
And then there's a turnover point where you can go too slow, but that's really pretty slow for this airplane. So you probably want to be going like 70 or 75 to be climbing. But you know, you can also go faster if you're trying to get somewhere and you feel like you already have enough altitude. The question is, like, what's going on with us right now navigationally in terms of the mountains and everything else.
Yep, and I still have to stick away from the clouds in order to VFR my way over there. So I may not be able to make a turn to the east. I may have to go like northeast or through those clouds. So do I have to make a request to ATC at this point, because I think I'm out of the 5 miles because I'm almost at the beach.
No.
So I can just.
So you're way out of the 5 miles. So you're free. You do whatever you want.
Okay, so I'm looking for other planes in the sky. I don't see any in that direction, and I also am going to check over here and look. And
like
that was not enough time to look, but
It looks like you have plenty of altitude as well.
Yes. So I'm going to reduce my throttle a little bit because that will solve Neiman's problem on speed.
Well, but reducing the throttle is just going to reduce the rate at which you're contributing energy.
Yes.
So you're going to go slower and still not be climbing any faster.
This is true.
Or you could even climb slower and stay the same speed.
I thought your problem was the airspeed.
No. I mean, you're not going too fast in absolute terms. You're just going faster than is optimal if you want to climb.
Okay, question on VFR flight rules. Am I far enough away from both of the clouds to make it through this gap?
Yes.
Is it that I just have to stay outside of the clouds?
Whoa.
I have decided it.
Neiman, what's your rationale there? Because that yes sounded very cavalier.
No, so it's one of two things, right? Like
being as cavalier as I possibly can be.
There's one of two rules that I remember. One of the rules is that I just have to stay out of the cloud, right? And the other rule is that I have to stay like 1 mile away from both clouds, and I'm clearly not doing that.
Nobody's gonna care if you're not a mile away from the cloud. Just don't go in the cloud.
Right. But what is it supposed to be? Like, if I was doing a check ride, did I just fail? Right.
So we're in. It depends on the airspace you're on, and we're in what? So just pop quiz. What kind of airspace? Are we
Legitimately don't know.
Okay. Well,
it's been too long.
We're in class.
I should relearn.
We're in class.
Already know.
I'm gonna guess. We must be in class. No, I don't know.
All right. Well, if Palmer doesn't know either, I feel a little bit better about not knowing.
Alpha, Beta, or Charlie. It's not. It might be F, I guess.
There actually is no F.
Okay. So it's Echo.
It's Echo. Yes.
Yeah.
So in class Echo, below 10,000 feet above sea level, it's now here's whether or not I can remember. It's definitely 500 feet below clouds and 3 miles of visibility.
Okay.
And I believe it's
500
let me just look it up.
1,000 feet above, 2,000 feet horizontal below.
Yeah, I was thinking half mile horizontal, which would be a little.
Well, I didn't have 2,000 feet horizontal right there. I think I had like 500 or 1,000 feet horizontal.
No, they weren't moving that fast, and we were doing like 100 knots. So I bet you had at least 1,000 feet, but probably not 2,000 feet.
Right. Okay. Also, I am only at like 3,750 in terms of feet, but I'm like totally gonna clear these mountains.
Yeah.
Well past it. But yeah, probably best to get up a little higher. One thing that I haven't been truly paying attention to is where the fuck I am. Hold on.
So that's how you
kind of waiting for that moment.
That's the Cayucas Reservoir off to the left there.
I have been paying attention to the idea that like I should look at the map, but I haven't like gotten a spare minute to do that. And in this case, I do have,
Is that a fire over there?
No, that's.
Would it really animate that into the game?
No, that's hilarious.
Oh wait. Oh, no, that's not. That's just a.
I think it's kind of looks like a fire.
How good is Microsoft Flight Simulator? All right, so
how much fuel do we have?
we've got enough. It's gonna be a little tight, but we got enough.
That's fine.
Okay, so my general plan is to just stay straight for a little while, and then once I clear those clouds, turn to the east, and then come in for landing.
Okay.
Oh, and another thing I probably should have checked before taking off is, like, look at the runway in Paso.
You're.
I know.
Okay,
I'm actually I'm like one-handedly doing this, so it's actually.
Just as long as you know, I think that's.
In this case, I do know. Fuck!
You know what? You know what's really funny is that.
Fuck! Yes.
I've had this experience in flying airplanes, where I'm like looking at a map and suddenly we're just like going off the road.
It's easy to do. In this case, it's because I was switching to my left hand.
Right.
Okay.
So let's talk. So what is the throttle set at? Still full throttle?
Nope, it's a little lower. It's at about 2,000 RPM.
Okay, yeah. So here's my question: is what made you choose 1,800 RPM to cruise at
Before?
in that last flight? Yeah.
General memory / experience.
Well, the checklist said to.
Yeah, but that's for the run-up, right?
Actually, I could look at the checklist for in-flight, and it says 2,100, actually. Also, I'm aware of the controls.
Yep.
We've reached just over 4,000 feet. Ah! It's fine. It's fine. It's not that much of a bank angle right there. It's just I overcorrected.
It boggles me how you're supposed to have to do all of this and stay within 100 feet of your like target altitude.
I don't know. I don't know how you're supposed to do that.
It's once you have a yoke, you'll realize it's really not.
Okay,
you just
well,
set the trim properly, and then you don't have to mess with it.
By the way, for the record, when I can set trim, but I found that I don't need to, which is probably wrong. But that's the game being wrong.
Sure.
One thing is that like I'm generally just see that what happened right there.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing anything differently than I was for the last minute. That's like a
Turbulence.
lag or a turbulence. You know, it's not
just of the air, yeah.
right. It's not like I accidentally held my finger down for like 2 seconds.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was just like I did a normal tap like normal, and then boom. Okay, so
why don't we let's set a target altitude and then try to stay within 100 feet of it. And
target
then
altitude was I mean, we could go to 4,500, which is the low end of what you guys were talking about.
Well, you're almost to Paso.
I mean, we are almost to Paso.
We're like halfway. So we
like,
went to the west.
I'll do 4,200. I wouldn't go any higher.
Okay, well we're at 40. We're at 4,200.
Right.
Yeah, and then there's a whole other discussion about like what altitudes you're supposed to use, but
Right.
that all falls apart below 3,000 AGL, which is we're on the border of it, so that's fine.
Okay, so question here, right? So power, elevator trim, mixture, lean for altitude. Now that we're above 3,000 feet, do I have to lean out the throttle a little bit because the mixture's still at full?
You should.
You want to lean it out a little bit.
And how much?
So usually you look at the there's a temperature indicator that you'll want to look at to decide that, but people have different answers for that. Sometimes it's like until you go slowly until you get to like the first little like wobble in the engine, and then you go a little bit back in from there.
That's I don't know who told you that.
My flight instructor.
All right. Well, I mean, who am I to argue with your flight instructor?
I mean, I don't know. I've heard that different places for different instructors, but
Okay, so here's the wicked thing, right? Normally, you'd have one hand on the yoke, right? Probably.
Yeah.
And then you'd reach down and you'd like adjust your mixture. But it's a lot more complicated and harder in Flight Simulator. I have to literally take my hands entirely off of the controls. I have to look down and I have to adjust the mixture by dragging a rod, right? And then I have to quickly look back up again and make sure that we haven't died.
Well, okay, so first let's worry about getting the power and elevator, or an elevator trim set, and then that should make things easier, right?
Okay.
So what RPM are we at?
We're a little lower than we were before. It's roughly 1950.
Okay, so why don't we just set that, somewhere, you choose somewhere in that range, right?
Coming out of your altitude.
I see it. But not by much. We're still within the 100 feet, by the way.
Yeah, I'm just warning you. Yeah. Beep, beep, beep.
God, that would drive me insane.
So if you're, this is just kind of a general,
Also, Paso is coming
Socratic.
up, by the way.
this is a Socratic question.
Yes, sir.
But if you seem to be having trouble maintaining the altitude, like you keep having to correct down, even if you're still within your
Adjust the trim.
constraints. Yeah. What's right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You got it.
You got it.
Which way?
That's the question, really.
So what is the trim set?
Well, the trim sets the little flap in the back of the right-hand elevator, right? And it basically... What?
You could think through the physics of it, or you could do what pilots do, and you could look at the dial, like on the knob, and it'll say nose down and nose up.
Yeah, well, I know it nose down and nose up. Like, I know which way it does that. I don't know what I want.
Well, you keep drifting down, which means that you need to trim your nose up a little.
Just a little
Well,
bit.
he keeps drifting up, right? He keeps drifting from. He's aiming for 42.
Yes, the important part is you trim the opposite way.
Okay, well, let me let go of the controls entirely and see if there's a lot of drift. Well, I should probably still make sure we're going relatively straight. But like, this is without me using.
This again once you change the power setting, if that's something you're going to do.
Yeah, but like, I'm not actually drifting that much, right?
Where are we?
We're
way out in the hills.
We're way out.
Okay, sure. We're like, oh my god.
We're fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. I know where we are.
Okay.
Everything's fine. Basically, I know that Paso is up here, and I've been paying attention to that. Yeah, that's it. That's all I gotta say. It might be a little further over here, but yeah. So
Now we're flying. So what's up?
everybody, did you get your snacks before we left?
Yeah, I'm just looking out the window, appreciating the mild turns left and right every once in a while.
I'm glad you're getting the scenic experience.
Yeah, right, exactly.
There you go. Okay, so meanwhile, oh fuck!
Meanwhile,
It like selected multiple different things at once, and I don't want that. I want to zoom in.
You've broken your altitude.
Thank you. I did not notice that. But I do want to start coming down now, right? Because I'm getting close-ish.
I mean, you could, sure.
Well, maybe not 100% yet. Anyway, so
Why don't you try to get us back to 4,200, and then by the time that happens, we'll be prepared.
by the time that happens, is this true?
Or just pretend you wanted to fly 4,000 the whole time. Yeah, it just goes down to 4,000.
Alright, so I'm actually looking at my airspeed, and it's fucking low, guys. It's low.
Yeah. So what happened? Has the throttle been moving around on you, or what happened?
No, but I can increase throttle to increase airspeed.
Did
Well,
you?
so what's the?
What happened is that I accidentally pitched the nose up a little too much, and
But we've also been descending.
right. So if you pitch the nose up and you don't change your throttle settings, right, you're gonna have increased drag, and you're not actually gonna go up, right? You're probably actually gonna go down, right?
Yeah,
If you
but
go
that's-
really far,
That's
but
a stall. You would notice. That would be like a very. That would be a different event if you were. If
that
you
would be
noticed
slower
that.
than
Yeah.
slower than you're going.
Yeah.
This is like a challenge getting to 4,200 here. I feel like what I have to do in order to go up is maintain attitude and increase throttle.
It's so funny. Yeah, the whole approaching it from a glider pilot's perspective is such an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can tell that he sees the throttle as a resource in a way that I just don't.
I do, don't I?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the thing is that we're getting, like, to the point where I would want to start turning towards Paso.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay.
You haven't really done any meaningful turns this entire time. So.
Well, now I'm asking.
Turn like you mean it.
Yeah, turn like you mean it, exactly.
Okay, well, we're past 4,200 now. Did you get what you wanted? All right, so we're turning towards Paso. There's a little bit of turbulence, and I'm trying to go standard rate, and it's not working. Guys, we've got a problem.
Why are you going that way?
It was fucking turbulence, dude.
Why is your nose pointed down?
Well,
Why is it descending?
because I want to descend.
Wait, while you're turning though?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, probably not wise, is what you're saying?
Can you try a constant altitude turn?
Are we just gonna do loops in the sky before going into Paso? Sure.
Like, yeah, I mean, you do whatever you want.
We can practice. It's fine. Okay, so let's try to stay at 4150. Let's try that.
Just go. You're almost to 42.
Oh fuck! My engine
4180.
died, and that's my own fault because I accidentally pulled the throttle all the way to idle.
That's what it sounded
Well, yeah. So I think you've been hitting the throttle button and not know.
No, I would know.
Okay, try a nice normal 4200 turn.
Oh!
A little bit of an overcorrection, but at least you're not descending. It's much easier to descend when you turn than go up.
We're just doing donuts, okay? No plan to go towards Paso right now. All donuts. We have to watch our fuel, though, guys. I need to land.
Yeah, are you doing that? Are you watching it?
Well, it's under the checklist. Give me a second.
When you're doing this like standard rate turn, are you using the rudder at all, or is it all?
Okay, so in this case, I should be using the rudder, and I know that. But because the rudder in this game is fucked, I'm just using ailerons.
What's the Where's the Oscar?
Where's what?
There is no. Oh, so it's you see the little plane with the L and the R. That's the.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
It's right here.
coordinator.
So I'm basically
coordinator.
lining it up with the R.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the opposite way from the string, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, we
Step
climbed a
along
lot. A lot.
Quite a bit.
We're heading away from Paso.
I understand that. We're going towards the ocean.
What's standard rate?
Standard rate is 30 degrees.
Oh, okay.
No, it's 5 degrees per second heading change.
So once around in a minute? Or
Yeah.
180 in a minute?
What is that? 180 in a minute.
Yes.
I think it's 180 in a minute and 360 in 2.
So 3 degrees per second.
Okay. Okay, so fuel is... I mean, we still got enough.
We're at bingo fuel
Yeah.
for our supposedly 12-minute flight.
Right. Okay, so since we've been doing donuts, I'm going to... now I'm going to go down. I'm going to go to an altitude of... Yeah?
That was good. I mean, you ascended, but the turn seemed really pretty nice.
Pretty even, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have
the mechanics
to...
of that are going to change completely once you use the yoke.
Right,
Yes.
which is why I haven't been doing that kind of aerodynamic maneuver practice, because it's just not useful right now. But I guess getting the concepts right would be useful, right? Like, what do you do? Point the nose up, or, you know, how do you correct for certain things, right? Like, do you increase throttle a little bit? Like, that kind of stuff could help, but, like, there's a reason I haven't been doing that, right? Anyway, I'm going straight for cloud. I'm gonna...
Let's head straight for Paso.
Yep.
I have an idea. Let's go to Paso.
You know, actually, I didn't set any. I didn't set any
You can
alternate
have a burger.
airports.
Yeah.
We can have
It's only like
yeah.
I think it's one now. Breakfast place may have just closed.
No. That's the only
Okay.
reason I came on this flight.
Damn.
Okay, I'm just calling it now. One day, the three of us should do this flight.
Deal.
Okay.
So next thing is I want to descend. I want to descend to pattern altitude, and I want to do that. Actually, this is another thing I should have looked at before the flight. Is what the fuck is the altitude at Paso? It's probably like 300, 400 feet, probably. So I'm probably going to 1500, but I can pause the game, which I can't do in real life, but I'm gonna do it. Because fuck you. Altitude is 839.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not 100 feet. The grade is a little bit higher than that.
Well, you come back down the other side, right? So,
Not by
Yeah,
much.
you just knocked me
though.
down as much.
Yeah.
right. Okay. So, in order to descend, I'll bring up the checklist. Power as desired. Okay. Well, I'm gonna bring it down a little
Power
bit.
as desired.
Mixture is fine for now. We never actually adjusted it, despite having the conversation about adjusting it. Altimeters. I should listen to the weather, right?
Sure. That
I
could be a good
mean,
idea.
it's not like I need it, because the weather's probably the same here as it was in Paso, but it might give me information like the wind.
We're really turning a little bit more.
I
probably,
do
but-
see it, and I was not paying attention to that at all.
See if we can spot before we go and get the weather. Let's see if we can spot the airport.
Right,
It's not.
well, it's,
Oh, you turned again.
I am doing that intentionally this time.
Okay.
Because I actually know that the runway is like this, and I need to get to like a 90-degree angle to that, basically, and I'm a little past that, but yeah. Anyway, let me ditch a whole bunch of that shit. The runway should be over there somewhere, but I can't see it.
Remember, it's kind of over that hill. I can see it.
You can?
Uh-huh. It's not in Paso, right? You have to
Yeah,
go
I know
outside
it's
the hill.
it's to the east of Paso.
It's down that highway a little bit.
We're headed pretty much south right now, like or at least very southeast.
Well, I'm looking at the compass
South,
for that. I'm going southeast. I'm going very southeast. My altitude is still fine. That's the controls. That's not me. Okay, I genuinely cannot see the airport still. Bring down the map. I don't want to pay attention to where my plane icon is relative to the map. I'm literally just trying to like find it. I know it's on there, but I'm not looking at the plane.
Just look out the window. Just look out the window. Try and orient
I
yourself.
swear to God, I still can't see it.
Orient yourself. Where are you now? What highway is that?
This one is 101. It's going north
Okay.
south roughly. The airport should be like right in here, and I swear, is this it?
It's not visible to you right now.
No, it is. It's
No, it
this. I see it.
Yeah,
I see it.
it's
Yeah,
not.
I see it.
Oh,
It's,
it
there it
is.
is.
I don't know if you can see it, but yes.
Okay,
That is it.
gotta quickly. What the fuck is going on? This usually resets it for me. Okay. This has been a chaotic flight, folks. I apologize.
That's great.
As your captain, I apologize.
Eating lots of popcorn.
Okay, so
I'm trying to remember things that we should talk about. in future discussions. I think transponder, aircraft performance.
I think we need to talk about the relationship between energy and throttle, probably. That's like
That's what I mean by aircraft performance.
Yeah, right. That's a whole flight, though.
It is, but we can talk about it, and then we can go and fly.
Right.
And then, this is...
Okay, this is a legitimate question. I have never flown a pattern around an airport that has more than one runway. How do you do that?
So the same as you normally would, but you just want to make sure that you're using the correct left-handed or right-handed pattern. So some airports where they have multiple runways, some of them will have left pattern, some of them will have right pattern.
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
Actually, we should have Beach look at it because they'll say on the second one.
On the VFR map?
Yeah.
That I don't have in front of me, but would if I was flying this.
Yeah.
So
if you pause it and look at it.
Yep, I can do that.
I can show you.
What am I looking for? Sorry.
Okay.
It's left.
Yeah, they're all left. But what told you that? I think
L.
You're still flying, by the way. So the L it refers to lights. If you scroll down to slow.
Oh, that just means that it has runway lights?
Slow doesn't have any either. Okay, look at Oceano.
I legitimately don't know where Oceano is.
It's just south of San Francisco.
Okay, right.
So you see how way at the bottom it says RP11?
Yep.
So that
right
means
pattern?
there's a non-standard right pattern for 11, runway 11. And then all the other runways have the normal standard of left.
So
left
what I'm concerned about, right, is let's say I want to land on I actually don't know the runway number. That's a problem. I would have probably gotten that in the air nav.
Just make sure you're not still flying.
I am sure that I'm not still flying. We're good. But I can prove it to you. We're not still flying. The engine, basically the way it works, right, is it freezes you in midair, but it keeps your propeller moving. You see?
Yeah.
And I can quickly unpause it and then repause it like so. Right? We're not flying. We're good. But yeah, the engine noise is still gonna be bothersome for you.
Go back into the interior so it's a little less loud.
Better?
Yeah, a little better.
Okay. I'm at the wrong airport. What is the designator here for Paso? PRB?
PRB.
Took me a good minute to realize I was at the wrong airport. This is something I should have looked at before I started flying too. I do not want to be doing this in the air. Also, I didn't put any alternates, but the weather was good. But I probably should have still had like an idea of where I would go. You know, if like a hurricane just suddenly slammed into the west coast for no reason.
Very likely, yeah.
Yeah.
One's a millennia Category 1 hurricane.
Right.
1, 19, and 13, and 31. Okay, so 19, 13, 31. 1, 19.
Can you call the tower and ask them what you could land on?
Well, there's no tower.
Oh shit. Okay, yeah.
So no. I'm actually being stupid right now. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out which runway is which. Is the longer one here? Is that the 1331? Because I think 31 would be facing this way, which lines up with a. Well, but
yeah, it's easier
but
to find
31
the
would
one.
want to be up here. Okay, so no, the shorter one is 1331, right?
It's easier to find the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And then 19 and 1 is this one, but it looks like it's a little off, to be honest. Whatever.
Well, remember it's magnetic.
Right. That actually almost certainly accounts for it. Thank you. That's right.
That's what that arrow is, right?
Yeah, so the arrow, because there's a VOR co-located there, and so you
Yes.
can use the compass to go to the VOR and the arrow, see how it doesn't really point north. It
Yep.
points, like,
Okay,
northeast,
that makes
north,
sense. That's
north.
right. That's right.
Really,
Okay.
that's such an artifact.
We actually covered that in ground school. I've just forgotten it. It's been too
It
long.
is, but at the same time, like, what are you going to carry with you that doesn't rely on very fragile space infrastructure that tells you?
Well, your compass.
Literally, things that rely on not at all fragile space infrastructure. Your GPS can tell you which way you're going.
Yeah, I know, but you know what?
He's asking if your electrical system
When you're at,
fails,
you know-
right? And you
No,
don't have
no,
GPS.
Well, not just that, but
That's more
Okay,
likely
sure.
than the
More
satellite.
Right.
I think airplanes get grounded if the satellites fail.
here's,
Anyway,
let me tell you a very likely one. The Air Force has decided to make an unannounced test of GPS jamming service. This has happened to people I know.
No way!
Yes.
That's insane. They didn't tell anybody that they were going to do that?
I mean, they say, like, we're going to do it intermittently for the next 4 months.
What the fuck?
It's not like on a given day and they don't put out an airmet for it.
That's called undermining confidence in the GPS system.
Yes, I know. But why do you think I'm so like this?
Okay, very fragile space infrastructure when people are fucking messing with it for no reason. Got it. Yeah, okay, sure. Then of course you need a compass. What the fuck?
All right.
Anyway.
What were
I
we
say
looking
that,
for?
and the compass, literally the compass in my airplane is broken right now.
It's broken. The other thing that you have to know is like the rocks underneath are like gonna affect it quite dramatically sometimes. So it's not very accurate. But it's better than the Air Force literally messing with you.
I'm gonna do a right turn all the way around because I legitimately don't know how to enter the pattern. Because if I fly over the airport, right, as Neiman was
Are you
suggesting,
intending to descend right now?
to 2,000
Okay.
because that's pattern altitude.
Well, but
Yeah.
why? Why? Well, okay. I guess it's not that far off. It's like
Well, I guess 1,800 is pattern altitude, or 1,900.
somewhere. It's just pick one. But yeah.
Do you have a habit of like descending while you're turning?
No, no. I'm trying to keep it steady while I'm turning. I made up a quick excuse when you asked why is my altitude descending.
Okay, got it.
I was like, well, because I'm not
I was
too
trying to get
bothered
out
by
that
it,
way
but no. It's I'm trying to maintain a constant altitude. I'm failing, and
I'll tell you why I'm sensitive about it. It's because I do it in a glider and to an extreme amount. Like I'll turn and all of a sudden you're just like diving.
Well, the
It's not as
233
good.
doesn't make that an easy thing to prevent, but yeah.
No.
Because you actually have to, you need up rudder, or you need up aileron, right? Like
Yeah.
banking out aileron to
Right.
give you the adverse yaw to point the nose back up so you don't descend.
Right.
it occurred to me I could have turned left instead of going all the way around on the right.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't think I had the space, but I clearly did. There's the airport, and I'm basically just trying to line up my heading indicator with what I now know the thing is. Okay.
Right.
Anyway. Okay, this is super confusing because I know that we are flying roughly north. The compass shows that we're flying roughly north. The heading indicator says we're flying south.
Yeah, so the heading indicator obviously has some drift. This is what happens with these gyros, is they drift over time.
Yeah, but this
Maybe
much
it
in a
was
single
set
flight?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
I
by
think-
over time, I mean like over a long flight.
I legitimately
Not like
think it
over
was
the
set
years.
wrong. I think I was right before.
There's no way it drifted 180 degrees
In like 10 minutes, 20 minutes,
No,
an hour.
it must have been set wrong at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
Always
what
has
I'm
been.
So what kind of pattern entry and what pattern are you flying for which?
it's a left pattern. I am lining for the 119 runway. So I'm going for the 19er, right?
Okay, yeah,
Um,
1-9er.
And I was planning on traveling north far enough to then basically do a standard rate turn 30 degrees at 2,000 feet ASL, or maybe 1,900 feet ASL, if that's more correct, and then intersect the downwind side of that pattern at a 45-degree angle while making a CTAF call to state my intentions to other pilots.
Okay,
So, I think
but-
there's a call that's coming up here in a minute, right?
Well, there's a call a long time ago, right, that I totally missed, which was the call about like, oh, I'm in the area, you know, like I'm approaching
Yeah, but now,
from.
now that you're like downwind now, right? So
well, you're not really downwind yet, but you're gonna be downwind soon. So yeah, you would have wanted to have made that call, and then like when you're entering the downwind, right, you make that call.
when are we downwind when we're even with the runway?
When we're when we're 2 turns from landing.
Right.
That's when
Are we 2 turns from landing now?
No.
No. Actually, I said it
Oh.
wrong, because we're going to land runway 1.
Oh, got it.
Okay, yeah.
I said it wrong. Sorry.
So we are 2 turns from landing then? So, or we're 5 turns from landing? Like
We're
Or
1,
1,
2,
2,
3,
3,
4 lands from
Got
landing.
it. Got it.
Um,
I'm on board.
and I should look out the window and see the airport. But this is super risky, as I said, because I have to like use my mouse to like... It's back there, okay? It's back there. Okay, so, Paso traffic, 3477 Echo, approaching, I actually really don't know what I want to say.
You're
Because-
just staring at the trigger now.
And then I just shut up and be silent.
Don't say your call sign, they don't know who did it.
Well, I did say my call sign. Okay, but the thing is that I wanna. Okay, so I'm gonna start making that turn now.
Yeah,
Whatever.
okay.
It's time to make the turn. I'm way past the airport. The fuel. I have been looking at it. We've got like 5 gallons, which is enough. But
Oh, we're fine.
5
It's-
gallons on each side.
yeah, that's right. 5
probably
gallons
got-
on each side. I've got
Conservatively, we probably got 45 minutes of fuel left.
Right.
And that's until we run out.
So we might just make it. As much
These 4 miles that we have to go, we might get done.
Wow, how did we get so far away from the runway?
Well, because we were this far away from the runway, and I was basically going parallel with it
We're gonna
because
have
I
to use,
didn't
like, the
want to.
debrief to look at the
I
track.
didn't want to basically go into the pattern head on, right? So I made sure to go
All
left
the
of
way
it,
around.
basically.
Got it.
Okay, so Paso traffic, 3477 Echo, approaching the pattern from the north. 2 miles, 1 mile. Paso.
Can I make a
Paso.
suggestion on
Yes.
Just a brief, just
Yes, please.
just really more of a comment.
why are you turning?
Because I'm going to 45 degrees to the pattern.
Okay.
So yeah, so here's what I would have said is
Also, my altitude.
Paso traffic Skyhawk 77 Echo is 2 miles northwest on a 45 for left traffic for runway 1 Paso.
Okay. Paso traffic, 77 Echo, entering the pattern from the northwest. Paso.
Paso. Yeah.
Paso. Yeah. So
I always add that as an
Fine.
afterthought.
That didn't have as much detail as Neiman's call.
I know, and I don't know where I fucked up.
And
But I know it is.
Entering the
mine didn't
pattern
even
is
have enough
25.
detail either, because really you'd want to say your altitude also. So it would be now. Well, okay. So now here I'll give you an opportunity because now you're turning downwind, right? So what are you gonna say?
Well, I would be turning base soon. I am downwind.
Yeah, you're
Yeah. So
down.
just say call that you
Make the
are.
downwind call, yeah.
You want me to say that I'm in downwind?
Yeah. Say, you know.
Okay.
That's a common-
Underline the number.
Maury traffic, 77 Echo, downwind. There you go. I'm downwind.
you said Maury traffic though.
Oh fuck! It's ingrained. It's ingrained.
All right. Well, try your base call when you go to do that.
I actually literally don't know what to say for the base call except making base turn or turning base.
I would say turning base. Yeah.
Okay, let me look.
You also just add one more thing to this.
Yes, sir.
You probably also would have been a good idea to have done the landing checklist sometime.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah. Are you guys fastening your seatbelts?
Yeah.
Is your seat upright? Fuel selectors on both mixtures rich. Taxi lights are not on, or I never turned them off once I started flying.
Is that
They-
not on the checklist, or we just ignored it?
I think we may have. I don't know.
But,
Anyway,
Next time.
Paso traffic, 77 Echo, turning base. Paso?
Yeah. The Avenel call that we often get is turning base to final, which means you're just turning to final from downwind without any base.
Alright. Paso traffic, 77 Echo, turning final. Paso.
say
Always an
turning base-
afterthought.
Turning base to final means you're on base turning to final.
Turning base to final is when people are like already turning base and planning to turn final without like just continuously. From
No,
my
I don't
observation.
think so. Well, it may be.
Which is what I just did.
It's not what they
Turning
think.
base to final.
Okay.
You need flaps
Alright.
at all?
Flaps are down.
Okay.
All the way?
Yes. 30 degrees.
That's yeah.
I believe that is on the checklist, but I don't have the checklist open, and I really, really cannot afford to take my hands off the controls and open it right now.
No, you're fine. You're
So, we're not doing that.
good. Yeah. So what? You know. Are
You
are
can ask
happy
me
with
questions right now. It's fine.
this?
Am I happy
Feel
with
bad.
this? I
yeah.
am happy with this.
Okay.
This is about as good as I can
airspeed?
fucking get with.
Or you get what's the speed you're aiming for?
Is there
I'm
airspeed
aiming
you're shooting
for.
or-
Actually, I wasn't aiming for an airspeed. I was aiming for
That's
slow
something you
enough.
should- was something that you should aim for.
This is true. 55.
That's fine. Yeah. With the flaps all the way down.
I mean, we didn't bounce.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Good job.
Holy shit! We're on the ground. And we're
Yeah,
not
I
dead.
feel about that.
Hey, folks! I might be a bad pilot, but that was a great flight.
That was a good landing. Yeah, that was great.
Nice.
It would be helpful, however, to know where I have to turn to get off of the runway.
No, any of these that are taxiways.
Well, I don't know if that's a taxiway, to be honest.
That one,
Oh.
you did just pass one. I'm sure you'll pass another one. Follow the
The
lines.
yellow sign and yellow one would indicate that it's taxi.
I did know that. I should have turned there. You're right. Now I'm just like
But,
taking up the runway.
that's fine.
Another taxiway coming
Yep,
up.
I see it. Yellow line on the ground. And then, would I make a call here to tell them that I'm clear of the runway?
Yes.
Paso traffic 77 Echo, clear of the runway, taxiing to ramp. I shouldn't have said Paso. I shouldn't have said the last bit, though, because no one cares. And it's
You
implied.
don't have to say that, and also, usually, if there's more than one runway, or just in general, people will say
specify
clear.
which runway?
Well, they'll say clear of the active, or they'll specify the runway. Yeah.
I'm gonna pull in here. We're gonna call this where we're going.
Isn't this another runway? No.
Nope, it's
You don't want to go to the diner?
Oh yeah, let's go to the diner.
Alright, let's go to the diner.
Anyway.
Is it at the airport, or should I just drive off and go to the...
No, it's at the airport. It's right at the terminal.
There's a terminal here?
Uh-huh.
I mean, yeah,
vaguely.
what it's...
Kind of a lobby.
Yeah. It's where we first met Dr. Iskold.
Really?
Where I first met Dr. Iskold, yeah.
It's those buildings over there way.
They are? Oh, I thought they were these buildings.
That's okay. This is fine. This is fine.
Okay.
This is alright.
Then we can walk. Nice.
Okay.
Alright.
Parking brake is set. I will pull up my parking checklist here.
You didn't pull your flaps up though, so you probably need to stick with the after landing one.
All right. Well, I mean, I know what to do. Flaps up, but I will go back to after landing for you. Landing light. We never turned on the landing light, so it is off, and we also never turned off the taxi light, so.
It is on.
Okay, all the lights are off. Elevator trim is back on neutral. Transponder, it wants the transponder on standby. Whoops. Okay. And then parking brake is on. Transponder needs to go to off.
That's standby there.
Yep. Avionics switches. Engine to idle, which it is. Magneto's cutoff test.
Click on it and see what it says. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it wants here.
Oh, off and then back to both.
Yeah, I mean, I know what it means, but I don't know why it wants me to do that.
It's just a test to make sure if you turn them both off and then turn them on, it would. I don't know. I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, I've never seen that before either.
I mean, that's my ignition, so there we go. Turn it off, whatever. Mixture to idle, which would also cut it off. Ignition, well, that was the ignition, right? The magnetos are the ignition, right?
Yeah, I've always used.
I guess I didn't know that if you turn the magnetos off, the engine immediately turns off.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. I thought you had to just throw your mixture to zero, and that's what killed it.
They should, because the magnetos are the turning the mechanical energy into ignition, right?
Right, but if it's already turning, it'll still have momentum.
Just keep turning, right? Yeah.
Well, but so it interrupts the flow from the magnetos to the distributor that then ignites, right? Or that then goes to the spark plugs. So.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
At least that's my understanding. Usually, I've always killed the engine with fuel starvation. So.
Yeah. Same.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so yeah, you go to zero on the mixture, and then you turn the magnetos off.
And then it stops turning. You turn off the magnetos.
Yeah, that's how I do it as well. Yeah. So I mean. Anyway, and then I'll secure the plane and put the chocks on the wheels, and then walk away and lock the door.
Right.
Probably take my headset with me or something. I don't know. Maybe leave it in the back. Who cares? Yeah. So there were a number of mistakes that were made.
That's all right.
The ones that stick out in my mind are the ones that were like clearly my fault, rather than like you guys. One of the things that was clearly my fault was I'm the pilot in command. I'm the one who gets to say, no, we're not doing donuts in the sky. We're going to Paso. And I should have taken more charge. But I thought we could do it. We had plenty of fuel, so I, went around and did it. So that is my error. As far as doing donuts in the sky, yeah, there were some technical things that I probably fucked up, and we can talk about that. But I'm not even in the slightest worried about that, at least right now. As for like keeping altitude the same and whatnot, those are definitely things that like I should probably be doing, but like
Until you
they're
get the
not
controls,
the
then it
most
doesn't
important
matter.
thing, right? Because I don't have the yoke and the rudder to like super fine tune it, because I'm basically just like aileroning the shit out of the flight, and I'm like
Yeah.
quickly trying to tap between 4 and 6 to get the heading to be the same, and like I'm
It's more
not
about
worried about that right now.
It's more about
It's-
priority.
Right.
it's more about trying to start. If you haven't checked on on just the general status of things, like whether or not you're headed the right direction, whether or not
Right.
your altitude is right.
And that's a fair point. That's
Yeah.
you should be paying more attention to this, especially when you open up another task, because that's you're
Okay.
getting distracted and you don't want to have that happen.
Well, it's even more important than that, because what are you trying to do? You're trying to fly a plane. That's
Right.
the primary task. It's not
Right.
looking at a map or looking at the radio.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's aviate, navigate, communicate.
Yeah,
Right.
aviate, navigate, communicate. So just anytime you in your brain think you may not be paying attention to the flight controls, look at the flight controls.
Right.
Every time.
And
Yeah,
100%,
it's
I was definitely at some points like trying to open the map or trying to like explain what I'm thinking to you guys when really I should be flying the plane, right?
Yeah.
So okay, that was definitely an error. But starting from the
But-
beginning, right? Number one, should have first off looked at Paso, right, before I took off. Figured out what the altitude that I need to be at for pattern would be. Figuring out what the runway directions are, which one I, probably want to land at. Figuring out what the wind is at, or the weather conditions are at Paso before I took off. Now, I mean, we set it in the game to be like it's gonna be fine, but like I should still have looked, right?
Just to add on to that, a slow to Paso is usually fine, but like Paso to slow, there's like a fog problem. So like just to underscore the importance of that, even if you think the weather is going to be fine there, you don't know. You have to check.
Right. Even though it's not like a geographically large distance, you
No,
should check.
it could be
right.
totally different.
And because slow could fog up in the half an hour that you're doing your pre-flight checkout and whatnot or whatever, right? Like if you're a VFR pilot and it really fogs up, then you might not be able to fly into that airport, right? And so you still want to have alternate airports available to you, or just fly back to Paso, right?
Right.
And I didn't do that before the flight.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
That's a good thing to do.
As far as like ATC calls or traffic calls, definitely a lot to improve on there. Like not just the wording, but like what to say, right, and how to say it could definitely be improved, right? Like giving the right amount of detail without giving, details that don't need to be said, or giving long pauses and clogging up frequencies, So being a little bit more sharp in communicating, right, is probably better. Knowing the airspace would be better, so like what different types of airspace are. When I'm flying out of Maury Middleton, the only thing I really have to be worried about is that I stay under the shelf of Madison, and then I just fuck off west for a while, which is why I had selected the Lone Rock thing, because I didn't have to worry about that. It's like I actually don't know what the airspace is, but like I know it's fine. But I should know the airspace, right? So knowing
Right.
airspace rules is better.
That's something both ATC calls and knowing airspace are things that I can really improve.
Getting more familiar with towered airport communications, because I have no experience with that, is kind of something that I can practice in the simulator, which is cool. Which this is the first time doing that. I think I did okay for it, but a lot more to improve there. Knowing some of the official FAR aim rules on distances from clouds, right?
Right.
The 3 nautical mile visibility thing, 500 feet below thing, right? Like just knowing
Yes.
those numbers in my mind,
That's-
even if I don't follow them, knowing them is
That goes up to airspace. Chalk that up to airspace rules.
right. So there's a lot of things to study there. And then, yeah, generally just paying more attention to flight controls and instrumentation, which Neiman actually brought up in the last flight as well, because I made a whole bunch of those same errors.
So this might be. Sorry, Neiman. Go ahead.
No, you go first.
This is definitely something that's not going to be present when you don't have anybody in the plane. But you tend to over-justify without fixing the problem.
I believe that, but elaborate what you mean exactly.
If you so just don't talk, fix the problem, and then talk.
Right. So, for example, during the flight, we talked a lot about the mixture and how we were over 3,000 feet, and how I should probably lean that out a little bit, and I never did that.
You should have done that before we even started talking about it.
Well, I had to ask how much I had to lean it out, because I didn't know.
That's a bad example. The better example is, why are you descending when you're turning? The first thing you do is stop
descending when I'm turning, right? Rather than justify, oh, well, right.
This is sort of a psyche thing for you. You're very much like a game player in that sense, where it's like that you were kind of saying it as if you were explaining your move in a game. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that does make sense. It does make sense.
But before you do that, just
so my critique to you,
figure out if I'm right or not, and pay attention to that, and then tell me if I was wrong or if I was right.
My critique to you on that is you shouldn't ask why is your thing turning, right, or descending? Why is your altitude descending? You shouldn't ask that. You should say your altitude should not be descending. Okay, yeah, but it's not. I'm not a flight instructor or pilot in command, so I'm always going to ask a question, right? Because I've been a co-pilot a few times, and you can never say stop descending. You have to say, do you mean to be descending, or why are you descending? Well, as a flight instructor, if you were a flight instructor, you should say directly, you should not be descending right now, because it took me like multiple times to actually figure out that you're right, I shouldn't be descending. I didn't even get that was what you were getting at. I thought you legitimately wanted to know, like, what was going through my mind. And there wasn't anything going through my mind. I was, like, legitimately descending without having a reason for descending, right? Because I hadn't been paying enough attention to that. And so I was like, well, let me think of a reasonable reason, why I would be descending right now, which is true. Like, the reason why I wasn't as concerned with that is because I wanted to, after the turn, go down to 2,000 or 1,900 feet to be at pattern altitude. But it didn't occur to me, I shouldn't be descending during the turn. That's probably not something I should be doing. And it didn't occur to me that your question implied that it was negative. Okay. That's just like a passenger thing. Like, you already know how to fly a Cessna 172 more than I do. You've had flight lessons in one. So, barely. As a passenger, like, I'm never going to criticize your flying. I'm just going to say, do you mean to do it? Right. Okay. Overall, though, I'd give myself a C-. I'd agree with that. Sounds good.
All right, I guess.
I mean, we lived.
I think you get an A+ because we're alive. That's not my criteria. I think there's like multiple rungs, I think number one is, are we alive? Good, right? But that's not why you fly. Like, you shouldn't go into every flight thinking like there is a 85% chance that we're not going to live. And if or a 95% chance that we're not going to live, and if I get into the 95 percentile, then that's an A. We lived, right? That's not how it works. It's like, you want to go into it thinking, as long as I don't make a major fuck up, it's less than a 1% chance, right? But I did make a couple, fuck ups. I don't think they were all mega major. I think nothing was super major. We would have told you if anything was super major. But it seemed everything to me seemed just sort of like you're learning to fly.
Part of this flight was suffered from a poor definition of requirements.
Yes, yes.
We didn't really set out what it was we were going to try to do initially. So when we ended up like way over by the coast, it was like, well, do we want to be here? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, okay, so I can explain why we ended up there. And I can also explain what I thought we were doing before we did that and where we deviated. And you're right.
I wasn't surprised that we ended up there, and that wasn't like I didn't have a problem with that. Like,
right. Well, there wasn't a problem with it. It was just that we didn't like describe what our flight plan was prior to it.
Right.
For the record, I was not. Okay, so let's start over. When we set out for Paso, right? We set that as a destination. We didn't really describe, are we going to do some donuts in the sky and try to like practice a turn radius and stuff and whatnot. We decided that in flight. That was never part of the original plan in my sense. My idea was just a standard cross country from Slow to Paso, and then just I had two thoughts. My first thought was, okay, literally use 101 as a visual guide and just follow the highway to the airport or to Paso and then find the airport from Paso. And basically just follow this course. And I wasn't going to follow this red line, right? I was going to just follow the highway because that's a really good visual cue that I can use, right?
Yeah.
But we initially ran into the problem that, like, can you see my cursor?
No.
Okay, well, in that case, I'll describe it. That just to the north of San Luis Obispo were a number of these clouds, right, that were basically at the elevation that I was flying at. And in order to remain VFR, I had to continue to a west by northwest sort of direction, right?
Right.
And so that's how I ended up basically over Morro Bay. And it was only then that I had the ability to travel north to go sort of navigate between the clouds. And that's when my question of, what are the distances between the clouds need to be as I went straight between those two clouds towards the north.
Right.
That's how we ended up over those hills west of Paso, right?
Right.
And once we were there, it didn't make sense to go straight back to the highway because there were still clouds there. So I knew I had to continue north, and I saw a break in the clouds basically where Paso was. And so that's where my decision-making came in. Now, I guess what I could have done is just change the altitude I'm flying. Maybe go a little lower, go under the clouds, and then go back to the highway. And I think that probably would have resulted in me not being nearly as lost as I was when I was turning towards Paso and just not knowing where the airport was.
Right.
Sure. I think, in a more realistic environment, you would have had the ability to look around a lot more and probably could have found a break that was a lot more optimal than the one that you found, right?
Yep.
And that would have made things a lot easier. But
so a note on looking around. As I described before we started flying, it's really hard for me to do that. As I told Palmer, I don't know if you were on when I said this, it's almost impossible for me to maintain level flight and look out the window with mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, once you get your controls, it's going to be a whole different.
Well, hopefully it's better, right? Right now I'm leaning on that as like a crutch, as like, well, I'm sure it's going to be better.
No, totally.
But
yeah, we're all about crutches here. That's fine. Yeah.
So.
Nothing's fun without a good excuse.
So my excuse right now is that I'm using keyboard, and I think it's a good excuse, but I honestly don't know if.
But there are some things that I think you can try to incorporate.
Yes.
That if you work a little bit on them now, they'll become really, really easy once your workload isn't so high.
Yes.
The big one for me is having kind of a scan, right? So making sure you're headed broadly in the right direction, your altitude isn't changing too much. You look at the VSI, you look at the altitude for what it actually is, then look at the delta for where you need to be, and then you look at the airspeed indicator, right?
Right.
Make sure you're not crazy slow.
The only things that I was doing throughout the majority of that flight was maintaining airspeed and maintaining banking stability. So I was just trying to maintain stability. But I wasn't paying attention as much to altitude, as you have correctly pointed out, and I certainly wasn't paying as much attention to the map. That said, while I didn't have the map pulled up, and I wasn't talking about it a whole lot, I was, as I described with the clouds thing, I was sort of making those calculations as we went, trying to like still keep in mind where Paso is relative to me.
Sure.
Now, yeah, right.
So
yeah,
like,
now I want to be in the hot seat. I feel like this is so fun. Now I want to be the one.
it's so
You
fun.
wanna be
Criticized. This is great.
Okay, so question for you then. I'm gonna stop the recording on this one, but I can give you controls. I don't know how laggy it will be.
Well, it turns out that I also have flight simulator and controls, so
All right, then.
most likely we could just switch over to mine. But I think Neiman probably has to go, right?
Yeah, I should probably go. It's been a while.
Neiman is the one who's probably going to give better advice on all this stuff anyway, especially since I'm not in a good position to give that advice, but I would happily do that with you now if you wanted to.
Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. I'll fly the same flight.
All right, well,
I think
one last thing that I would say...
she's just going to sleep, so she might not mind.
Okay.
One last thing that I would
Or
say...
maybe while I'm setting up, I'll go for like a little while, and then I'll pick up in progress.
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay.
You can totally do that.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
We'll blabber on for another couple minutes, and then I'll start. But you can pick up whenever.
Yep. So that last thing I was going to say was, and this is like an actual point that is a problem, which is, as we've already discussed, like, you have to pay attention to the controls and whatnot, right? Right?
Yeah.
But a legitimate problem that I was having was, as you guys have already pointed out, that you have to, fly the plane first before you communicate and navigate, right?
Yeah.
And I know we've already talked about this a little bit, but you haven't seen the previous video I did when I flew to Lone Rock, because I have now deleted that video, unfortunately. You'll never see it.
Right.
I may actually redo that flight and just for the for the sake of it, just because like I've learned a little bit now, and I think it is kind of educational. Plus, it is a logical airport for me to fly to, and it's something that I almost certainly will do a cross country for in the future. But basically, if you compare this video with that video, I am, despite having less experience with like the controls and less experience with the flight instrumentation, I am like way more composed, and I'm way more
you just don't have
precise.
passengers, dude.
And it's
Like,
because I'm talking to you
tough.
guys.
It's so tough. It is a skill you have to learn, obviously.
I know, and that's why I'm saying it's a real
tough.
point. It's not like it's not a criticism of you guys. It's a real point of, that's resource management in the cockpit that I have to like.
I've been driving for years and years and years, and I am still significantly worse with passengers. Significantly.
Right. Same.
It never goes away.
Right.
Neiman, I don't know how he does it, but he's
very good.
He's very good. He's the same with and without passengers.
Okay, so
Neiman, we've told you about the story, right? You got to stop recording.
Yep.